Chapter 846. Lin Yan had just touched Pei Yuqing's forehead when she felt his scalding heat travel from his forehead to her skin. It was so hot. It was so hot that it couldn't be considered a normal human body temperature. Lin Yan's expression changed instantly. All the messy thoughts in her heart seemed to have been cut off by a sharp knife, and all that was left was a mess. Lin Yan immediately extended her hand and placed it on Pei Yuqing's forehead again to confirm it. It was scalding hot. You have a fever. Lin Yan pressed her forehead against Pei Yuqing's. Her heart felt as though it had been set on fire by the man's forehead, and her face was frosty. Pei Yuqing. You have a fever and you're telling me that your fever has subsided? Lin Yan had always been respectful in front of Pei Yuqing. This was the first time she had been so angry at Pei Yuqing. Her attitude had been so harsh. This was also the first time Lin Yan had called Pei Yuqing by his name. Pei Yuqing was stunned by the girl's burning gaze. For the first time in his life, he felt a little guilty. He fell silent and didn't know how to respond. Lin Yan was about to explode with rage. What was wrong with this man? To think that he acted as if nothing had happened, 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 and as if nothing had happened. His fever had subsided? How could it have subsided? He was about to boil. He was so sick, yet he was pretending that nothing was wrong. She had almost been deceived into thinking that he was fine. So Pei Yuqing was telling the truth. He had really been seriously ill. A normal person with a fever wouldn't even be able to walk properly, let alone a fever that hadn't subsided for a few days. How could he still sit here and handle such complicated affairs? Fluttering, it's just a fever. Pei Yuqing muttered after some time. Lin Yan was even more furious when she heard him. A fever. Just a fever? Your forehead is so hot that you can cook an egg. Lin Yan reached out and touched Pei Yuqing's forehead, neck, and hand. She said coldly, my entire body is burning. How could you tell me that you're fine? You must go to the hospital immediately. Pei Yuqing watched as the girl flew into a rage. His eyes were as gentle as water as he gazed at the girl's tiny hand. He slowly tightened his grip and held the girl's fingers gently. Then, he lifted her hand to his lips and kissed it gently. I'm really fine. Don't worry, okay? Lin Yan's fingers felt as though they had been scalded, and the warmth spread throughout her entire body. The frost on Lin Yan's face almost melted away. After some time, she snapped back to her senses and gritted her teeth as she glared at the man. Don't try to seduce me. I won't fall for it. You must go to the hospital today. The man in front of her had crushed a pool of starlight in his eyes, and his voice was low and hoarse. Are you sure? Lin Yan tilted her head and caught sight of the man's eyes, which seemed to be able to capture her soul. She took several deep breaths to calm herself down. At the same time, she was even angrier. He still had the energy to seduce her when he was so badly burned. Unfortunately, she really fell for it. Lin Yan's anger was extinguished just like that, leaving behind only a few sparks that danced around. Lin Yan shut her eyes and took a step back. She took a deep breath and said, it's fine if you don't go to the hospital. You can go to bed and rest now, drama theater, Lin Yan thought, cut it out. I won't fall for your seduction. Pei Yuqing thought, are you sure? Chapter 847. The five of them watched helplessly as Lin Yan returned and exposed Pei Yuqing. She had even forced him to stop working. Lin Yan grabbed Pei Yuqing's hand and led him to the master bedroom, which she rarely entered. The style of this bedroom was very similar to Pei Yuqing's. It was black, white, and gray, and it was cold and otherworldly. After settling Pei Yuqing down, Lin Yan walked to the bedroom and glanced at Pei Yuqing and the others. Where's the doctor? They snapped out of their daze and hurriedly called Professor Tan over. President Pei is willing to treat him? Professor Tan looked surprised, but he was still worried. His old body was rotting, so he didn't dare approach President Pei. Lin Yan's mind was filled with Pei Yucheng's scorching heat. She felt a little impatient as she pinched her temples. Go and take a look. If it doesn't work, I'll use force. Everyone was horrified when they heard her. Pei Yutong looked flustered. What? What do you mean? Lin Yan glanced at him. What else could I mean? At most, we'll fight. She didn't know if it was an illusion, but she realized that her physical abilities seemed to be improving. If she really fought with Pei Yucheng, she would at least be able to exchange a few blows with him. Professor Tan was speechless. Pei Yutong replied, This was the first time Pei Yutong had seen Lin Yan so violent, so he couldn't help but be shocked. The others exchanged looks and fell silent. Go in, Lin Yan said. Professor Tan hesitated, but he instinctively obeyed Lin Yan's order. Professor Tan had just pushed the door open when he met the pair of oppressive eyes on the bed. He instinctively took a step back. Lin Yan poured a glass of warm water and placed it on Pei Yucheng's bed. She then scanned Pei Yucheng's clothes. Although he had taken off his jacket, he was still wearing a formal suit and a tie. He looked very uncomfortable. Doctor, did he take his medicine? Lin Yan asked Professor Tan as she reached for Pei Yucheng's collar and removed his tie. Then, she unbuttoned his white shirt. Pei Yucheng merely raised his eyebrows. He didn't resist at all. When Lin Yan couldn't undo the second button, he even helped her unbutton it. At the same time, the terrifying pressure between the man's brows instantly disappeared without a trace. The way they interacted with each other was as natural as an old married couple. Pei Yutong and the others were speechless when they saw this scene. Qin Huan looked astonished as he whispered into Pei Yutong's ear, Didn't you say that Brother Yu and Miss Lin are like strangers? He even said that Miss Lin was timid in front of Brother Yu. It doesn't seem to be the case at all. Pei Yutong was confused as well. Don't ask me. I'm confused too. Professor Tan keenly sensed that the pressure had disappeared, so he carefully walked to the bed. Professor Tan took Pei Yucheng's temperature and examined him carefully. He looked worried and worried. How is it? Asked Lin Yan. Professor Tan glanced at Pei Yucheng, as though he didn't dare to speak. Lin Yan's face hardened. Why are you looking at him? Tell me the truth. End of this chapter. Chapter 848. Lin Yan glared at Pei Yucheng, who was exerting pressure on Professor Tan. Pei Yucheng coughed softly and glanced at Professor Tan. Speak. Professor Tan said carefully, I've told you many times. President Pei's body has been severely damaged. He needs to recuperate slowly. Otherwise, his life could be in danger at any time. Professor Tan paused before he added, I believe that you can feel it, President Pei. Your internal organs are as fragile as glass, and your immune system is like a thin layer of paper. If you continue to work so hard, you will be wasting your life. When you're at the end of your rope, even the best doctor won't be able to save you. Professor Tan had probably realized that he had someone backing him up, so he started to spill everything he knew. The more Lin Yan listened, the uglier her expression became. In the end, her entire body turned to ice. Everyone in the bedroom fell silent after hearing Professor Tan's words. No one dared to breathe loudly. After some time, Lin Yan said coldly, the treatment plan. Professor Tan hurriedly took out a document. Here. Actually, the medicine and treatment can only be used as a support. The most important thing. The most important thing, what? Lin Yan urged impatiently. Professor Tan was scrutinizing Pei Yucheng's expression carefully, so Lin Yan didn't dare speak. She reached out to cover Pei Yucheng's eyes and glanced at Professor Tan. Continue. Pei Yucheng was speechless, Professor Tan was speechless, Pei Yutong and the others were speechless. How could this work? Professor Tan was stunned for a long time before he stammered, the most important thing is the patient's cooperation. At the very least, from now on, Boss Pei can't do anything that will consume his energy, Lin Yan nodded. Got it. He will cooperate. Okay. I'll prescribe the medicine for President Pei now. Professor Tan realized that the authority in this family seemed to have changed. Pei Yutang, Qin Huan, and the others sensed this change as well. They instinctively stood there like quails. When Professor Tan finished speaking, Lin Yan finally lowered her hand. Then, she met a pair of eyes that looked as though they were smiling. Lin Yan, who seemed to be immune to his charm, replied coldly, "Did you hear what the doctor said?" Pei Yuqing nodded. "Yes, but there is a very important document. No, the doctor has to approve it." Lin Yan was unmoved. His desk was full of documents. Which one of them was unimportant? As long as this gap was opened, if there was one, there would be another. No matter how important it was it more important than his body? If she could, she wanted to lend her body to him. Of course, this was impossible. In short, she absolutely could not allow him to continue acting so recklessly. Lin Yan hadn't realized it yet, as she had automatically assumed the role of his girlfriend. Pei Yuqing glanced at Professor Tan. This time, Professor Tan wasn't threatened by Pei Yuqing. He straightened his back and said firmly, "President Pei, your body really can't handle such high-intensity work." Professor Tan finally realized that Boss Pei seemed exceptionally docile in front of Miss Lin. End of chapter. Chapter 849. Therefore, after keenly noticing this, Professor Tan, who had someone backing him up, naturally became a lot bolder. Pei Yuqing hadn't expected Lin Yan's attitude to change so drastically. He hadn't expected Professor Tan to defy him either. He couldn't think of a way to deal with this. Pei Yuqing glanced at the girl with a faint smile. "Miss Lin. Do you accept bribes?" The top two buttons of the man's shirt were unbuttoned, revealing his collarbone and chest. His voice was hoarser than usual due to the fever, especially that pair of eyes that shone like stars in the desert. When he looked at her, it was as if there were hooks in his eyes. How dare he try to bribe her? Did he think that she would be so easily bribed? That was impossible. No trick would work. Lin Yan's eyes flickered slightly, but she remained unmoved. "I told you that a honey trap won't work on me." Professor Tan's words had completely blown her away. The entire city was in a mess, and all that was left was anger. Pei Yuqing raised an eyebrow as he gently adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses. He picked up his phone and pressed a few buttons. Lin Yan was trying to figure out what he was up to when she heard a melodious notification on her phone. "Alipay has arrived. 1,000,000 yuan. Pei Yuqing chuckled softly. "What about this?" Lin Yan was speechless, Professor Tan was speechless, Pei Yutang, Pei Nanshu, Qin Huan, Xing Chen, and Ling Yu were speechless. "Brother, aren't you being a little too shameless?" Lin Yan's back stiffened as she stared at the transfer record on her phone. A crack appeared on her cold face, and her eyes lit up. 1,000,000 yuan. Can I? Pei Yuqing chuckled softly. Lin Yan shut her eyes, almost infuriated. This was too much. If a honey trap didn't work, he would use money to corrupt her. Lin Yan took a few deep breaths to calm herself down. She used all her willpower to resist this inhumane corrosion. She pressed her phone several times and said, "Don't try to get lucky. It's useless. I've already returned you 999,480 yuan. 999,480 yuan. Pei Yuqing was momentarily startled when he heard this number. However, he quickly snapped back to his senses. The corners of his lips curled up into a smile, and his eyes sparkled. Pei Yutang and the others were confused. Pei Yutang scratched his head. "What do you mean by returning 999,480 yuan? Is there a processing fee for refunds?" Qin Huan asked, "Does this number have any special meaning?" Xing Chen and Ling Yu's faces were also filled with doubt and confusion. To be honest, Lin Yan seemed to have changed into a different person today. The way she spoke and acted surprised them. At this moment, Pei Nanxiu said softly, "Ahem, I think it means that." He returned 999,480 yuan and kept 520 yuan. Pei Yutang, Qin Huan, Xing Chen, Ling Yu, everyone's faces were filled with indescribable expressions as they were stuffed with dog food. Pei Yutang bit his finger and whined. F***ck. Who said that big sister-in-law is a straightforward woman? Big brother's illness seems to have unlocked some strange seal in her. Qin Huan touched his chin. Is it my imagination? Why do I feel like Big Brother is a little henpecked? Xing Chen replied, I don't think it's your imagination. Chapter 850. Lin Yan had successfully resisted all the sugar-coated bombs. She watched as Pei Yuqing took his medicine and fell asleep before she left. Daddy. You're amazing. Pei Yutang was full of admiration. Miss Lin, thank you, Pei Nanxiu said gratefully. It's fine. You don't have to thank me. It's my fault for not taking good care of him. Don't worry, I will keep a close eye on him, Lin Yan replied. Thank you for your hard work, Miss Lin. Mr. Pei, you're too kind. It's my duty. Mr. Pei is already asleep, so I'll make a trip to the office and rearrange my work schedule with Sister Ling. I'll ask her to push back my work as much as possible. I need to go to the company too. Let's go together, Pei Nanxiu replied. In the underground parking lot of Summit Entertainment, Lin Yan got out of the car when she arrived. As soon as she got out of the car, she heard a familiar voice. Sister Yan? Sister Yan, why are you here? Duo and Zhao Hongling had just returned and bumped into Lin Yan. Sister Yan, you're finally willing to buy a new car? Duo glanced at the luxurious car behind Lin Yan in surprise. Sister Yan didn't look like someone who would be willing to buy such an expensive car. Besides, why did this car look so familiar? Lin Yan hadn't expected such a coincidence. Before she could explain, Pei Nanxiu got out of the car. Duo screamed in the garage. Mr. Pei. Mr. Pei. It wasn't surprising to see an artist at Summit Entertainment. What was surprising was that Lin Yan and Pei Nanxiu had gotten out of the same car. Duo, who had always been eloquent, stammered, Sister Yan. You. Why are you and Mr. Pei? Zhao Hongling, who was more composed, was also taken aback. When Pei Nanxiu had first debuted, he had been the target of a scandal. Ever since then, he had been very cautious. Everyone in the industry knew that he had never been alone with a female artist. Besides, he was riding with Lin Yan, who had once been known as the Queen of Gossip. Even though they were artists from the same company and Pei Nanxiu had helped Lin Yan before, it was impossible that Pei Nanxiu would ride in the same car with her. No matter how one looked at it, this matter did not make sense. Lin Yan, who had expected Duo and Zhao Hongling to react this way, sighed helplessly and explained, Mr. Pei and I happened to be heading in the same direction, so we came together, on the way. Duo looked incredulous. Lin Yan hadn't had a chance to travel with Pei Nanxiu today. Even if they had bumped into each other, given Pei Nanxiu's character, how could he have allowed Lin Yan to get in his car? Besides, she had seen clearly that Lin Yan had gotten out of Pei Nanxiu's passenger seat. Sister Yan has been bragging to me that she has a backer at Summit Entertainment. Could it really be Mr. Pei? Duo whispered to Zhao Hongling. Zhao Hongling frowned. Lin Yan said that she isn't in that kind of relationship with Pei Nanxiu. Sister Yan did say that, but do you know which of her words is true and which is false? In short, I absolutely don't believe it. When had Mr. Pei ever treated an actress so well and taken such good care of her? Award-winning actor Pei also has close relatives in the industry. Sister Ling, have you ever seen award-winning actor Pei take special care of anyone? Even Summit Entertainment didn't let him in. Chapter 851. The more Duo analyzed the situation, the more shocked she became. Sister Ling, Could Sister Yen really be in a secret relationship with Mr. Pei? Duoduo's voice was loud, perhaps because she was too shocked. Hence, Pei Nanxiu and Lin Yen heard her clearly. Secret relationship? Lin Yen was exasperated as she glared at Duo. How many times do I have to tell you before you stop imagining things? I'm really related to Mr. Pei. We're family. We're family. Okay. Duo pursed her lips. Oh, I believe you. She would be a fool if she believed her. Although Duo said that she believed her, she didn't look convinced at all. Pei Nanxiu chuckled and shook his head. Lin Yen and I are indeed related. Duo and Zhao Hongling were taken aback when they heard Pei Nanxiu's words. Pei Nanxiu glanced at Lin Yen. Miss Lin, I'll make a move first. Lin Yen nodded. All right. Go ahead. Pei Nanxiu had just taken a step when he halted and turned around. Oh yeah, if there's any inconvenience, let me know. I'll help you. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Pei. Lin Yen bowed gratefully. The moment Pei Nanxiu left, Duo rushed over. Sister Yen. Before Duo could respond, Lin Yen interrupted her. Mr. Pei said it himself. Do you believe me now? Duo nodded and replied solemnly, I believe you. I believe you. I believe that love is blind and ignorant. I can't believe that Mr. Pei would be willing to lie for you. Sister Yen, what kind of aphrodisiac did you feed him? Lin Yen was so furious that she almost flipped the car beside her. She inhaled deeply and replied, I didn't feed him any aphrodisiac. She had merely fed his brother a aphrodisiac. Meanwhile, in Zhao Hongling's office, Lin Yen told her the reason for her visit. It's nothing serious. I just wanted to trouble you to postpone my work. I have some personal matters to deal with. Zhao Hongling had never interfered in Lin Yan's private life. However, out of concern, she asked, did you encounter any trouble? Zhao Hongling couldn't be blamed for asking this question. Lin Yan was a workaholic who would never delay her work. A few days ago, she had even urged Zhao Hongling to get more work for her. Lin Yan wouldn't have asked her to postpone her work unless there had been something important or troublesome. Lin Yan coughed softly. No, it's just that my boyfriend has been sick recently. I want to take care of him. Lin Yan hadn't hidden the fact that she had a boyfriend from Zhao Hongling. However, they had just bumped into Pei Nanxiu and Lin Yan. When they found out that Lin Yan was going to take care of her sick boyfriend, they couldn't help but feel a little awkward. Duo blinked. So Mr. Pei is sick. No wonder he has been declining a lot of work recently. His expression was also very bad just now. Lin Yan was speechless. It turned out that this little girl didn't listen to a single word of her explanation. Lin Yan's head throbbed. Mr. Pei isn't the one who's sick, okay? It was his brother. His brother. He had been delaying work to attract her boyfriend. He had been in a bad state to take care of her boyfriend. Duo replied, all right. You don't have to explain. I understand. Lin Yan was speechless. What did she know? Chapter 852. Zhao Hongling was almost certain that Pei Nanxiu was the boyfriend that Lin Yan had mentioned. Based on the timeline, Lin Yan had told Zhao Hongling that she had a boyfriend and that Lin Yan had joined Summit Entertainment at the same time that she had started filming with Pei Nanxiu and signed with Summit Entertainment. Coincidentally, Lin Yan had told her that Pei Nanxiu was sick. Pei Nanxiu had postponed his work and wasn't in good condition. If Lin Yan's boyfriend wasn't Pei Nanxiu, she couldn't think of anyone else. Lin Yan had always been hardworking, so Zhao Hongling wouldn't reject her. She agreed readily. Okay, I'll make the arrangements. Go back and take good care of him. After settling everything, Lin Yan left the office and called Qi Xiaoyuan to ask him out for a meeting. She had to settle the team as soon as possible. At the cafe, Qi Xiaoyuan's eyes lit up when he saw Lin Yan. He stood up hurriedly and waved at her. "Goddess, I'm here. I'm here." Lin Yan glanced at Qi Xiaoyuan and asked, "Is there anyone else in this room?" Qi Xiaoyuan was stunned when he heard that. That made sense. He was the only one in the private room. Lin Yan glanced at Qi Xiaoyuan and said, "I have something to ask you." Lin Yan wasn't very familiar with the rules of the racing teams in the country, but Qi Xiaoyuan's job was related to it. "Boss, ask me anything. I'll tell you everything I know." Qi Xiaoyuan nodded eagerly. "Aren't you working for a racing team?" asked Lin Yan. Qi Xiaoyuan grinned. "Yeah. How else would I have recognized you? I want to start a racing team. Are there any prerequisites?" Lin Yan went straight to the point. "You want to start a racing team?" Qi Xiaoyuan was startled. He couldn't understand why Lin Yan wanted to start a racing team. "Boss, aren't you working for the He family team?" asked Qi Xiaoyuan. Lin Yan had single-handedly turned the He family team into a top-notch team. Why did she have to start a new team all of a sudden? A high-level racing team and a newly established low-level racing team could not be mentioned in the same breath. At the very least, in Qi Xiaoyuan's opinion, she was begging for money instead of wealth. Of course, Qi Xiaoyuan knew that given Lin Yan's capabilities, it wouldn't be difficult for her to turn her team into a top team. However, it would be a waste of time. Most importantly, a team couldn't just have one top racer. If they didn't even have enough members, then there was no point in starting a new team. Besides, based on Qi Xiaoyuan's understanding of Lin Yan, she wouldn't be willing to spend money on a racer. "He left," explained Lin Yan. "He left?" Qi Xiaoyuan stared at Lin Yan. "Boss, did you say that he left the He family team?" "Yes," replied Lin Yan. Qi Xiaoyuan, although he was curious as to why Lin Yan had left the He family's team, he didn't probe further since she had no intention of explaining. "Boss, based on your capabilities, I believe that even if you create a new team, you would be able to become the best team in the country in no time." Qi Xiaoyuan grinned at Lin Yan. End of chapter. Chapter 853. Of course, there was a prerequisite. Lin Yan had to compete in every competition. Otherwise, it would all be for naught. Qi Xiaoyuan informed Lin Yan of the conditions for forming a team. The conditions for forming a team were very stringent. Other than the qualification test, there were many other requirements. What if a band racer wants to form a team? Lin Yan asked Qi Xiaoyuan. Qi Xiaoyuan was startled when he heard Lin Yan. "A band racer? Boss, what do you mean?" Qi Xiaoyuan frowned slightly. "Actually, I've been banned." Lin Yan grinned. "Huh?" Qi Xiaoyuan was taken aback. Qi Xiaoyuan snapped back to his senses and replied thoughtfully, "I don't think any racers have been banned. I was banned overseas," replied Lin Yan. Qi Xiaoyuan was speechless. Qi Xiaoyuan was stunned for a few seconds before he snapped out of the shock of the news that he could not accept. "Boss, are you saying that Yeva disappeared because she was banned from competing?" Qi Xiaoyuan asked incredulously. Lin Yan nodded slightly. "Yeah." Qi Xiaoyuan asked, "Boss, how long has she been banned?" Lin Yan replied, "Forever." Qi Xiaoyuan was speechless. Qi Xiaoyuan had never imagined that his boss would retire from the racing scene. As a die-hard fan of Yeva, he hadn't received any news at all. Besides, Qi Xiaoyuan couldn't understand why Yeva would be banned forever. Although there had been rumors about Yeva being banned, no one had believed them. Yeva's fans had scolded them to the point of questioning their own lives. Qi Xiaoyuan had never imagined that Lin Yan would retire for such a ridiculous reason. No wonder the International Racing Federation hadn't announced it. Once it did, there would be a huge uproar. "Boss, if that's the case, it might be difficult." Qi Xiaoyuan studied Lin Yan with a frown. There was no difference between being banned by an international racing federation and being banned by an international racing federation. Every country's racing guilds were united. Being permanently banned by one of the guilds was equivalent to being banned by all racing guilds in the world. Boss, why don't you wait for my news? I will talk to the guild and see if there is any solution. Qi Xiaoyuan pondered for a moment before he spoke. If Lin Yan was banned from racing, she wouldn't be able to compete. Perhaps the management of the He family team had been negligent, as they hadn't strictly checked the driving permits of the old racers. However, if they were a new team, the checks would be much stricter. Even if Lin Yan was banned from racing, it would be a waste. Okay. Lin Yan nodded. After leaving the coffee shop, Qi Xiaoyuan went to the guild. Uncle Li, give me some face. This matter. Qi Xiaoyuan looked at the middle-aged man beside him and said. The person called Uncle Li was a middle-aged man. The man looked at Qi Xiaoyuan and chuckled softly. Xiaoyuan, this isn't a matter of giving them face. There's nothing we can do if they're permanently banned from competing by a foreign guild. You know, racing guilds are one. If we give them a special pass, we'll be breaking the rules. Not to mention creating a racing team, they won't even be able to compete on the track. Chapter 854. Uncle Li, please make an exception. He's a really good friend of mine. Even if you don't want to give me face, you should give my father face, Qi Xiaoyuan said hurriedly. The middle-aged man was silent for a moment before he sighed helplessly. Xiaoyuan, it's not that I don't want to give you or your father face, but that's the rule of the association. Qi Xiaoyuan was speechless. All right, thank you, Uncle Li. Qi Xiaoyuan could only leave. Wait. The middle-aged man suddenly stopped Qi Xiaoyuan. Qi Xiaoyuan's face lit up. Uncle Li, do you have something to discuss with me? The middle-aged man shook his head. There's nothing to discuss. I just wanted to ask you, what's the name of the racer you mentioned who's banned from competing abroad? I have to register it and forbid this person from competing on the track. Qi Xiaoyuan's mouth twitched. I don't know. He had promised his boss not to reveal her identity. In the president's office. Dad, I'm begging you. Give me face. Qi Xiaoyuan looked at his father with a fawning smile. Give you face? The man frowned. Dad, you're not giving me face. Just treat it as giving yourself face. You're really my good friend. Qi Xiaoyuan said. Impossible, President Qi said expressionlessly. Banned by any racing association in any country, you can't compete on the track, let alone create your own racing team. It's absolutely forbidden. Dad, get out, President Qi said impatiently. Okay. After Qi Xiaoyuan left, the middle-aged man whom Qi Xiaoyuan called Uncle Li walked into the president's office with a smile. President Qi, Xiaoyuan came to me before, the middle-aged man said. He's idle all day. Ignore him, President Qi said. Oh right, how's the new racing team going? President Qi asked. The middle-aged man nodded and said, it's going well. This year's international competition is being held in the Hua Nation. Many of the more capable racers want to join, but, compared to the top foreign racing teams, we're still a distance away. In response, President Qi fell silent. Like WZ, Dark Knight, and Falcon. Those top teams are too strong. It's a pity that we don't have god-level racers like Lang Mang or Butcher. Otherwise, we wouldn't be so passive. The middle-aged man sighed. Unrealistic. President Qi put down the document in his hands and glanced at the middle-aged man. Why don't you say that we don't have a racer like Yeva? The middle-aged man chuckled. President, I don't dare to think about that. I can think about people like Lang Mang and Butcher. As for Yeva, forget about her. It's strange. President Qi fell into deep thought. Yeva is a talented racer. She can even train racers like Lang Mang and Tuesday. Why would she disappear all of a sudden? President Chi was puzzled. The middle-aged man didn't find it strange. Maybe it's because she earned enough money. Also, didn't I hear that she was injured? Maybe that's the reason. But no matter what, it's such a pity. If such a treasure was in China, I wouldn't let her retire even if I had to kneel down and beg her. You kneel? President Chi glanced at the middle-aged man and said, I can kneel too. Chapter 855. At Cloud Manor, Ching Imo hurried over with a pile of documents in his arms. There was a pile of urgent documents. He had to finish them for Pei Yucheng before tomorrow morning. Otherwise, all the work would be delayed. Right now, many people from his family and company were eyeing President Pei, trying to pull him down from his position. If such a huge mistake were to happen, President Pei would be in trouble. If people found out that President Pei had been delayed because of his serious illness, the consequences would be unimaginable. Ching Imo stood at the bedroom door, feeling conflicted. Lin Yan had called him earlier to tell him not to disturb President Pei while he was recuperating. He didn't want to disturb President Pei and affect his recovery, but President Pei had instructed him to send the documents to him before 8 p.m. He didn't dare disobey. After hesitating for a while, Ching Imo could only obey and knock on the bedroom door. Dong dong dong, someone knocked on the door. Pei Yucheng had slept soundly. When he heard the knocking on the door, he felt as though he didn't know what day it was. The bedroom was quiet. Lin Yan had left. Pei Yucheng's eyes darkened, but he quickly regained his composure. Come in. Ching Imo strode in carefully. President Pei, the documents you wanted are ready. Pei Yucheng felt a little better after his sleep. However, he had been holding on for too long. These few hours of sleep weren't enough. He had woken up too quickly, so his temples and chest were aching. However, the moment Ching Imo entered the room, Pei Yucheng immediately regained his impeccable posture. There wasn't a trace of discomfort or fatigue on his face. Pei Yucheng put on a shirt and got out of bed. Bring it over. Okay. Ching Imo hurriedly handed the documents over. However, Ching Imo had just taken 2 steps when a strong force pressed down on his shoulder. He couldn't move at all. At the same time, a chill went down his neck and into his bones. Assistant Cheng, why are you here? Lin Yan's cold voice rang out. Ching Imo broke out in a cold sweat. He stood there stiffly, not daring to move an inch. Pei Yucheng, who had just put on his coat, was surprised to see Lin Yan back so early. Then, he quietly removed his coat without batting an eyelid. Lin Yan glanced at him and sauntered over to Ching Imo. She studied the documents in his arms and asked, Assistant Cheng, what are you holding in your hands? The force on his shoulder felt as if his bones would be crushed if he dared to move even a little. Ching Imo didn't dare to say anything. He stammered, and nothing. It's just a pile of useless paper. I was just about to throw it away. She didn't expose him. Instead, she walked to the table and picked up an empty cup. That's good. I hope that Assistant Cheng will remember my words. While President Pei is recuperating, no one is allowed to disturb him. Otherwise, I might lose control of my temper. The glass in Lin Yan's hand shattered. Lin Yan crushed it with her bare hands. Ching Imo, Pei Yucheng was speechless. Ching Imo coughed and hurriedly said, I remember, Miss Lin. No, madam, don't worry. I will remember. I'm leaving now. I won't disturb President Pei's rest. Chapter 856. Ching Imo fled as though he was running for his life. Previously, he hadn't dared to disobey President Pei's orders. He had also felt that Lin Yan had a good temper, so he had chosen to submit the documents. However, now, he realized that he had made the wrong decision. Why did he feel that Miss Lin was scarier than President Pei? Besides, President Pei seemed to be afraid of Miss Lin. The moment he saw her, he immediately took off his coat. Ching Imo, who was acutely aware that something was amiss, hurriedly slipped away. Meanwhile, Pei Yucheng lay back on the bed. He tilted his head and smiled at Lin Yan. "You're back." Lin Yan's mind swayed. "This trick again?" Lin Yan glanced at Pei Yucheng and snorted coldly. She resisted the smile that could melt even the winter. Lin Yan quietly tidied up the pieces and poured him a glass of water. Finally, she took a bunch of medicine that the professor had instructed him to take on time. "Take your medicine." Pei Yucheng took the glass of water and took his medicine obediently. He didn't mention anything about the documents. Lin Yan stared at Pei Yucheng like an X-ray. She only relaxed after he finished the medicine. Some of them were Chinese medicine practitioners, so they couldn't stand the smell of it, let alone drink it. However, Pei Yucheng ate it without batting an eyelid. He didn't even frown. Lin Yan hated taking medicine the most. She couldn't help feeling upset when she saw Pei Yucheng take so much medicine. "Is it bitter?" Lin Yan's tone softened. Pei Yucheng's eyes seemed a little lonely. "I hope it's bitter." Lin Yan suddenly recalled that Pei Yucheng didn't have a sense of taste. She said guiltily, "Sorry, I almost forgot that you can't taste." Lin Yan consoled him. When she met Pei Yucheng's lonely gaze, she felt as though her heart was being pricked by needles. Her tone softened as she consoled him. "Don't be sad. There are still benefits to this." Pei Yucheng smiled bitterly. When he saw that Lin Yan seemed to have softened, Pei Yucheng said, "Those documents." Lin Yan regained her composure when she heard him. "Don't even think about it." Lin Yan snapped out of her daze and yelled angrily, "You've changed your strategy again. You can't bribe me with money, so you're trying to injure yourself to gain my sympathy." Pei Yucheng looked helpless. He hadn't expected Lin Yan to be so sharp this time. "Actually, it's not as serious as Professor Tan said. I know my own body best." Lin Yan stared at Pei Yucheng without blinking. "Besides, it's just a few documents. It won't take long." Pei Yucheng was still trying to get Lin Yan to agree. Lin Yan remained silent. Pei Yucheng replied, "Just this once, okay? The things that Chingimo sent over just now." Before Pei Yucheng could finish his sentence, a shadow blocked the light. Then, a warm kiss landed on his lips. Pei Yucheng's calm eyes cracked like a layer of ice. He had just broken out in a cold sweat, and he felt as though he was standing in a lake under the warm spring sun. After Lin Yan kissed him, she straightened her body and pressed her fingers against the man's lips. She said resolutely, "No." This was the first time Lin Yan had taken the initiative to get close to him. This was completely beyond Pei Yucheng's expectations, and he froze. "You," Lin Yan raised her eyebrows and chuckled softly. "President Pei, you're not the only one who knows how to use a honey trap. This move of mine is called giving someone a taste of their own medicine. I wonder if you'll fall for it, President Pei?" Chapter 857. Pei Yucheng fell silent for about 3 seconds. Then, he called Xing Mo and asked him to postpone all his work until next month. Lin Yan was finally satisfied. "That's good. Go back to sleep. You've only slept for a few hours. It's not enough. Call me if you need anything. I'll be next door." "Okay." Pei Yucheng's eyes trailed after Lin Yan as she left the bedroom. After she returned to her room, Lin Yan took a shower and read the scripts and advertisements that Zhao Hongling had sent her. Then, she logged on to Weibo to interact with her fans. By the time she was done, it was already past 10 p.m. Lin Yan was about to go to bed when she seemed to recall something. She glanced at the room next door and frowned. She had always thought that Pei Yucheng had been taking good care of his body until Pei Yutang had complained about him. Today, she had witnessed how Pei Yucheng had forced himself to stay awake. She had finally realized how good Pei Yucheng was at pretending and coaxing people. If she hadn't used some special methods, she wouldn't have known that his fever had been so severe. How could she have known that he would act as though nothing had happened to him? Hence, she felt that she couldn't be the same as before. She had to watch him closely. Otherwise, all her previous efforts would have been in vain. At this thought, Lin Yan crawled out of bed and went to the bedroom next door. She pushed the door open softly and glanced at Pei Yucheng. Good, he was still sleeping. Lin Yan, who was relieved, surveyed the room and glanced at the couch under the window. Forget it. She would sleep here tonight just in case. That way, she would be able to know in time if anything happened. It would also be convenient for her to take care of him. Lin Yan went back to get a pillow and a blanket and placed them on the couch in Pei Yucheng's bedroom. Then, Lin Yan cautiously walked to Pei Yucheng's bedside and reached out to touch his forehead to check if he had a fever. The tentacles were warm. Fortunately, the fever had subsided. She hoped that it wouldn't come back. Lin Yan was worried about everything. She was worried, sick and exhausted. The man who was sleeping was different from his usual aloof self. His face, which looked harmless and fragile, was mesmerizing. After making sure that Pei Yucheng was fine, Lin Yan heaved a sigh of relief and prepared to sleep on the couch. Just as she was about to stand up, a strong force grabbed her wrist, which was on Pei Yucheng's forehead. Lin Yan was startled when she met a pair of eyes that were unusually bright in the dark. Pei Yucheng stared at the girl before him as his slightly hoarse voice echoed in the dark, enclosed bedroom. Miss Lin. Are you planning to attack me at night? Night attack? How could this be? Lin Yan, who hadn't expected that Pei Yucheng would suddenly wake up, blushed and widened her eyes. How is that possible? You're still sick. Am I such a beast? Ha! The man chuckled softly in the dark. Then, he tightened his grip on Lin Yan's wrist and pressed her against his chest. So, you can wait for me to recover? Lin Yan was speechless. She didn't mean that. Lin Yan listened to the man's heartbeat and scrambled to get up. After she calmed down, she said, I'm just checking to see if you have a fever. What if you work secretly when I'm not around? Of course I have to keep an eye on him. That's why I plan to sleep here tonight. Pei Yucheng was startled. Sleep, here? End of this chapter. Chapter 858. Lin Yan blinked and asked, What's wrong? Pei Yucheng shook his head and replied, Nothing. I just feel a little regretful. Regretful? Regretful about what? Lin Yan was puzzled. Pei Yucheng replied, I regret not telling you earlier that I was sick. Lin Yan's cheeks flushed as she understood what Pei Yucheng was implying. She snorted coldly and said, You finally admit that you hid it from me? Pei Yucheng coughed softly. Sorry. How could Lin Yan be angry when she saw how weak he looked? She reached out to tuck his cup in. Have a good rest. I'll sleep on the couch next to you. If you need anything, you can call me anytime. Pei Yucheng replied, I need it now. Huh? What do you need? Do you need water? Or are you hungry? I'll get you something to eat. Lin Yan asked anxiously. Pei Yucheng asked, Can I not sleep on the couch? Lin Yan was speechless. If she didn't sleep on the couch, where would she sleep? Lin Yan understood what Pei Yucheng meant very quickly. Pei Yucheng had always been polite and restrained. He had never crossed the line. This was the first time Pei Yucheng had made such a request. Lin Yan was stunned. Besides, he had made such a request in such a weak state. It was too hard to reject him. Lin Yan snapped back to her senses and said with difficulty, Ahem. I'm not a good sleeper. I'll disturb you. I was just joking. Miss Lin, you should rest early. Sorry to trouble you today. The man's eyes only dimmed slightly, and the surging emotions in his eyes instantly returned to calmness. His attitude was extremely natural as he spoke, as if it was really just a casual joke just now. Lin Yan frowned when she saw this. After some hesitation, Lin Yan couldn't help but ask, Pei Yucheng, can I ask you a question? Pei Yucheng was startled when he heard Lin Yan call him by his name. Go ahead. Lin Yan replied solemnly, "Why, do I feel that? You've always been so cautious around me?" Logically speaking, someone like Pei Yuqing wouldn't need to be cautious around anyone. However, during this period of time, Lin Yan felt that Pei Yuqing was no longer a gentle gentleman. He had become so gentle that he was cautious and cautious. What kind of boyfriend would be so careful with his words when flirting with his girlfriend? Pei Yuqing's eyes flickered as he replied naturally, "Miss Lin, why do you say that?" Lin Yan gazed at his gentle expression and felt a little annoyed. "Even when I'm angry, I can't help but call you by your name. However, Mr. Pei, you've always been so polite to me. You seem to be a little cautious." The man clenched his fists. "You don't like it?" Lin Yan scratched her head. "No. It's not that I like him. I just feel that. I don't know." Lin Yan's mind was a mess, and she didn't know what to say. Pei Yuqing seemed to care a lot about this question. "Then, do you hate it?" Lin Yan realized that this was a very important question to him. She hastily replied, "No, why would I hate you? I didn't expect you to be so approachable and kind to me. How could I hate you?" Chapter 859. Other than the one time when she had wanted to break up with him and he had lost control, Pei Yuqing had never been angry at her. She had always thought that Pei Yuqing was a godly boyfriend. How could she hate him? However, she felt that Pei Yuqing was a little too oppressive. The man unclenched his fists and chuckled softly. "It's good that you don't hate me." Lin Yan didn't probe further when she saw Pei Yuqing's reaction. One of them sat on the bed, while the other sat on the couch. Both of them lay down to sleep. Lin Yan had been busy the entire day, so she fell asleep soon after. Not long after Lin Yan fell asleep, the man opened his eyes slowly and gazed at the girl on the couch. In his mind, he suddenly felt an intense pain. "I hate you, Pei Yuqing, I hate you the most in my life. I'd rather die than be with you. You don't know how to love someone at all. You're a monster, President Pei. Ever since I saw you on TV, I've been infatuated with you. I can't stop thinking about you. Do you know that there are 100 ways to be sweet? Eating candy, eating cake, and missing you 98 times. When the nightmarish voice in his head was replaced by the girl's sweet voice, the pain in Pei Yuqing's head gradually subsided. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead. "I wouldn't want to lose you even if I had to pretend for the rest of my life." The next morning, at JM Corporation, all the senior executives were present. A few major shareholders and elders who rarely came to the company were also present. The conference room was in a mess. "Cheng Mo, your President Pei's personal assistant. Tell me what's going on." "Exactly. It's such an important contract, but he hasn't signed it yet. If he doesn't sign it, all the factories will be suspended for the next 6 months. Do you know how much the company will suffer? The headquarters in Europe have already called to ask about it." Cheng Mo was as anxious as a cat on a hot tin roof. However, he could only maintain his composure. "Everyone, please calm down. The deadline hasn't arrived yet." "What do you mean it's not here yet? We should have finished the contract a month ago, but it's still at a standstill. Boss Pei said he wanted to reconsider it, so we delayed it for another month. There are only 3 hours left until the time that Boss Pei agreed with us." One of the veterans roared as he slammed the table. The other person seemed to be a little wary of Pei Yuqing and warned, "I'll say this first. I've already reported this matter to the headquarters. If anything happens to us, he won't be able to escape responsibility. Cheng Mo, I think you're just stalling for time. According to the news I received, Boss Pei is already bedridden and unable to handle the company's affairs. Yet, he hid such a huge matter from all of us shareholders. Can you bear the responsibility if anything happens? Cheng Mo, you're overthinking. Boss Pei is fine." "Bullshit. Even now, you still dare to not speak the truth. Tell me the truth. Is President Pei seriously ill and unable to get up? If that's the case, we have to plan ahead for the sake of the company's operations. Ching Imo hadn't revealed any flaws, and these people were afraid of Pei Yucheng. Thus, they didn't dare to act rashly. However, if Pei Yucheng didn't give them an explanation today, they wouldn't be able to keep this matter under wraps. No one knew President Pei's condition better than Ching Imo. He really couldn't take any more work, but the company couldn't do without him. Ching Imo was in a dilemma. He was about to split into two halves. Chapter 860. At Cloud Manor, when Pei Yucheng opened his eyes again, he realized that his vision wasn't quite right. He didn't seem to be lying on the bed, the morning light was shining through the window. He seemed to be lying on the sofa. Pei Yucheng slowly propped himself up and realized that his vision wasn't right. His body didn't feel right either. Previously, his body had felt as though he was carrying a mountain or a person sailing in the deep sea. His entire body was heavy and exhausted. The last time he had lost control, he had realized that his body was as withered as a tree. Even though he had tried his best to hold on, he hadn't been able to. Thus, he had had no choice but to ask Ching Mo to postpone a lot of work. However, his body felt unprecedentedly relaxed and his mind was clear. His condition wasn't any worse than when he had been at his peak. Pei Yucheng quickly realized what had happened. He instinctively glanced at the full-length mirror opposite him. Indeed, the person in the mirror wasn't him. It was Lin Yan. Without warning, his consciousness had enveloped Lin Yan's body. Was it because his body was too weak that he couldn't control his consciousness? Pei Yucheng didn't have time to think about it. His phone rang continuously. Pei Yucheng walked to the bed and picked up his phone. He pressed the password to unlock it and read the message. It was from Ching Imo. The company couldn't seem to suppress it any longer. Today was the deadline he had given them, so the current situation was within his expectations. Those people would definitely take this opportunity to, justifiably, cause trouble. Pei Yucheng used his phone to send Ching Imo a message. Send all the documents over. A minute later, Ching Imo replied, Air. President Pei, this isn't a good idea. I think you should think of another way. Madam said that you can't continue working hard. Besides, those old guys must have dug countless traps in those contracts. Given your current physical condition, it's really not suitable for you to do such high-precision work. In short, your health is the most important thing. Ching Imo rambled on and on. The core meaning was that he had disobeyed the president's orders, so he had to listen to Madam. This was the first time Pei Yucheng had been disobeyed by Ching Imo. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. In the end, Pei Yucheng took out his phone and called Ching Imo. Ching Imo answered quickly. Hello, President Pei. Pei Yucheng replied, It's me. Ching Imo could hear Lin Yan's voice on the other end of the line. Even his voice sounded softer as he replied meekly, Madam. Pei Yucheng replied, Okay. Ching Imo panicked. Madam, I didn't ask Boss Pei to work. I'm serious. If you don't believe me, look at the message I sent to Boss Pei. I asked him to rest well. Really? Pei Yucheng was speechless. Pei Yucheng was speechless when he heard his assistant's panicked tone. Send all the work that needs to be done in Yucheng in half an hour. Ching Imo replied without hesitation, Yes. Yes. I'll bring it over right now. Madam, please wait a moment. Pei Yucheng was speechless. This time, he agreed readily. What he didn't know was that when he awoke from Lin Yan's body, Lin Yan's consciousness was gradually awakening. Chapter 861. Lin Yan was completely dumbfounded. When she had realized that she had been possessed again, she had panicked. However, this time, after much deliberation, she had tried her best to calm herself down and hide her presence. Fortunately, that fellow hadn't noticed her at all. This time, she wanted to figure out her motive while that fellow was unaware. Then, Lin Yan watched as herself picked up Pei Yucheng's phone and unlocked it. After reading Ching Mo's message, she pretended to be herself and asked Ching Imo to send the documents over. What was this person trying to do? Lin Yan continued to read the messages in bewilderment. Pei Yuqing was lying on the bed in the bedroom. Pei Yuqing was still sick and weak. If this fellow really wanted to do anything to Pei Yuqing, it would be too easy. She wouldn't be able to stop her. Lin Yan was scared out of her wits at the thought of this. She had thought that the pervert had given up. Who would have thought that he would be waiting for an opportunity? After Pei Yuqing ended the call with Ching Imo, he glanced at himself on the bed and didn't pay any more attention to him. A second later, his eyes inadvertently landed on Lin Yan's body. The girl was wearing a nightgown. Although it was a conservative style, a few buttons had come undone due to her restless sleep. Her bra could be vaguely seen. Pei Yuqing averted his eyes almost instantly. Lin Yan was worried about Pei Yuqing's safety, so she hadn't noticed that his gaze had landed on her. She didn't think that it was a big deal that her buttons had come undone. She had always assumed that the pervert was a woman. Pei Yuqing stretched his hand out and carefully buttoned Lin Yan's pajamas. Then, he walked out of the bedroom. This fellow hadn't done anything to Pei Yuqing. What was she trying to do? Lin Yan knew that there was nothing she could do. However, she had to figure out that fellow's motive. Hence, she could only wait and see. Pei Yuqing sat in the yard and basked in the sun for a while. After a while, Ching Imo arrived with the documents. Ching Imo said carefully, "Madam, I've brought everything you wanted." Pei Yuqing replied, "Okay, leave it. Wait in the living room." Ching Imo didn't dare disobey and left obediently. Lin Yan was about to go crazy. F***ck. Ching Imo, this idiot. Such an important document, how could you be so assured to hand it over to this pervert? That guy had an ulterior motive. Even if Ching Imo thought this guy was her, he shouldn't be so unwary of her, right? Lin Yan didn't know what to say. She could only wait and see what he wanted to do. The man entered Pei Yuqing's study with a thick pile of documents. In the study, Pei Yuqing's study was even more secretive and important than his bedroom. Lin Yan had purposely concealed herself and Pei Yuqing was focused on his work, so he hadn't realized that she had woken up. After he entered the study, he took out a pen from the second drawer of the desk and started to deal with the work that had piled up for the past month. Because his consciousness was in Lin Yan's body, his mind had regained its clarity. He had dug out all the traps that the old fellows had painstakingly dug. The problematic documents were all marked out with a pen, and the ones that were not problematic were immediately read and signed. In less than 2 hours, Pei Yuqing had finished all the documents. Chapter 862. All of this was too strange. Although she had guessed that Pei Yuqing and the pervert might know each other, it seemed like they were more than just acquaintances. How close did they have to be to know Pei Yuqing's password? How close did they have to be to take out a pen from Pei Yuqing's second drawer? How close did they have to be to imitate Pei Yuqing's signature so well? Although she couldn't understand those documents, this pervert seemed to know all the information and JM's matters very well. He handled it very quickly. Was it okay for that fellow to imitate Pei Yuqing's signature? What kind of place was JM Corporation? They would definitely find out that he had imitated Pei Yuqing's signature. Lin Yan was horrified. Could that fellow be Pei Yuqing's enemy? Was he trying to steal secrets or frame Pei Yuqing? The more Lin Yan thought about it, the more anxious she became. In the end, she could only watch as that fellow handed the documents to Ching Imo. "How's the company?" asked Pei Yuqing. Ching Imo answered truthfully, "It's about what Boss Pei expected. They're all waiting for Boss Pei to make a mistake. What's more, they've even reported to the headquarters in advance. If I'm not wrong, the people from the headquarters must be on their way now." Pei Yuqing replied, "Send these documents to the company." Ching Mo's eyes lit up when he saw the documents. "Yes, I'll send them now. Madam, thank you for taking care of Boss." Ching Imo didn't think too much about it. He assumed that Pei Yuqing's health had improved under Lin Yan's care. That was why he had finished the documents. However, Boss was really efficient this time. He had finished a month's worth of work in just 2 hours. That was even faster than usual. Indeed, a single man like him would never understand the power of love. Cheng Imo arrived at JM Corporation in time. Everyone, who had been waiting to watch a good show, watched Cheng Imo, who had returned alone. Assistant Cheng, how is it? We can't hide it any longer. Are you finally ready to tell us the truth? Cheng Imo handed out a pile of documents without any expression on his face. President Pei has already processed all the documents. These will be sent to the headquarters immediately. The problematic ones will be sent back to be redone. What? The veteran looked shocked. That's impossible. He was even more shocked when he saw that Pei Yuqing had found all the traps that he had dug. He had prepared this for a long time, so no one would be able to tell that there was something wrong with the documents. Pei Yutong didn't have the brains to do so, but Pei Nanxiu definitely didn't have the brains to do so unless that monster, Pei Yuqing, dealt with it personally. However, he had received news that Pei Yuqing's body wouldn't be able to handle such intense mental work. How? How had he done it? No. This was impossible. Someone had to be helping Pei Yuqing. However, even if someone could help Pei Yuqing, the signature couldn't be faked. The veteran calmed down and said with a cold expression, "Did Boss Pei really sign these signatures?" Cheng Imo frowned. What do you mean? Nothing much. I just want to confirm the authenticity of the signature. I'm also doing this for the safety of the company. I don't want anyone to take advantage of Boss Pei's illness. The elder's request was not against the rules, and in this situation, if he refused to verify the signature, it would arouse even more suspicion. Chapter 863. Actually, Cheng Imo was a little suspicious. President Pei's body had been so weak before this. How could he get better overnight? Was there really a problem with these documents? However, Cheng Imo pondered it and decided that it was impossible. Madam had personally sent these documents to President Pei's study. Assistant Cheng, don't tell me you're afraid. Another shareholder sneered coldly. In the end, Cheng Imo told one of the higher-ups, I've already said that President Pei is fine. If you don't believe me, you can verify it. If they didn't verify it, these people wouldn't give up. There was no other way. Besides, if there was a problem with the signature, it would have a huge impact. At Cloud Manor, Lin Yan anxiously tried to regain control of her body. However, the consciousness seemed to be very powerful. Lin Yan tried for a long time, but she couldn't succeed. As Lin Yan racked her brains, she saw herself frowning in pain through the reflection in the floor-to-ceiling window. Then, she saw herself place her hand on her abdomen. What was going on? Was there something wrong with her body? Lin Yan wasn't in her own body now, so she couldn't feel the pain. She had no idea what was wrong with her body. However, Lin Yan realized that the consciousness's control over her body was getting weaker and weaker. Then, Lin Yan's vision turned black. When she woke up again, she realized that she was back in her own body. Great! She was back. However, why was she back so suddenly? Was there a problem? Lin Yan moved her fingers and touched her tummy with a puzzled expression. After she gradually got used to it, Lin Yan realized that her abdomen hurt. This familiar pain, was it Aunt Flo? Lin Yan was speechless. She was really thankful that she had chased that pervert away with her period. Lin Yan didn't have time to think. She hurried to the bathroom and called Cheng Imo. Hello, Cheng Imo. Madam? What happened to President Pei? Cheng Imo asked worriedly when he heard Lin Yan's anxious voice. No, it's those documents. Don't send them to the company yet. Cheng Imo was puzzled. Why? But, it's too late. Lin Yan panicked. Too late? Have you sent them? Yes. Furthermore, some of the company's higher-ups suspect that there's a problem with the signature and requested for it to be verified on the spot. We're currently waiting for the verification results, Ching Imo replied. Damn it. Lin Yan hadn't expected that her worries would come true. It was over. He hadn't signed those signatures. There would definitely be a problem. What should I do? She had no choice but to tell Ching Imo, I can't explain it to you now. Anyway, think of a way to stop them from verifying it. Ching Imo seemed to be busy, so he didn't answer Lin Yan. Lin Yan cried out, Assistant Cheng, are you still there? After about a minute, Ching Mo's voice came through the phone. Madam, I'm here. The verification results are out. Ching Imo must have found a secluded place to call her. He said, No problem, I finally shut those old guys' mouths. It was Lin Yan's turn to be dumbfounded. Lin Yan replied, What did you say? No problem. Ching Imo, yes, it's indeed Boss Pei's signature. There's no mistake. Madam, what's wrong? What did you want to say to me? Lin Yan snapped back to her senses after some time. No. Nothing. Chapter 864. Lin Yan confirmed with Ching Imo that the signature she had sent that morning was indeed his handwriting. There was nothing wrong with it. Lin Yan's mind was in a mess after she hung up. Pei Yuqing's handwriting had been in the morning? How could that be possible? It was clearly her hand that signed those names. Lin Yan recalled the book that she had read about brain development. She began to suspect that someone had used brainwaves to temporarily control her body. The problem now was, who was the person controlling her body? Who could know Pei Yuqing so well? Not only did they know the passwords of his equipment and the location of his items, but they could also imitate his handwriting to the extent that even professional appraisers couldn't detect it. Given Pei Yuqing's character, who could be so intimate with him? It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that she was his wife. She had thought that it was wishful thinking on the part of the pervert, but now, it seemed like it couldn't be wishful thinking. An inexplicable rage surged in Lin Yan's heart. Even his girlfriend hadn't been treated this way. Lin Yan stood in the living room, pondering all sorts of possibilities. Suddenly, Pei Yuqing's bedroom door opened. Pei Yuqing. Lin Yan instinctively turned around when she heard the sound. Why are you awake so early? Lin Yan hadn't realized that she had unknowingly addressed Pei Yuqing as Pei Yuqing, instead of a Mr. Pei. Are you feeling unwell? Pei Yuqing looked anxious as he asked Lin Yan. Lin Yan was startled. Huh? Pei Yuqing's forehead was covered in a thin layer of sweat. He strode over to Lin Yan and placed his hand on her stomach. Is it here? Lin Yan blinked. Air. You. How did you know? Pei Yuqing's expression froze, and a trace of frustration flashed across his eyes. Then, he said calmly, I saw you clutching your stomach. You seemed to be feeling unwell. When had Pei Yuqing seen that? Had she been clutching her stomach? However, Lin Yan had been deep in thought and hadn't noticed. That was strange. This wasn't the first time. Every time she felt unwell, Pei Yuqing seemed to know exactly where she was. Where does it hurt? Pei Yuqing pressed on. Lin Yan coughed awkwardly. I'm fine. It's just a stomachache. It's nothing serious. Pei Yuqing hurriedly picked up his jacket and put it on. No, I'll take you to the hospital. She grabbed his hand and said helplessly, You're still sick. Why are you running around? I'm fine. I'm really fine. It's just, my period. Pei Yuqing was startled when he heard her. A moment of discomfort flashed across his handsome face before he heaved a sigh of relief. I'm glad you're fine, so it was her period. No wonder. If she had woken up a little later, she wouldn't have been in so much pain. I'll boil some brown sugar water for you, Pei Yucheng replied. Lin Yan snapped out of her daze when she heard that he was going to cook. It's fine. It's fine. It doesn't hurt at all. It doesn't hurt? Yes, it really doesn't hurt anymore. Why would I lie to you? Oh yeah, Pei Yucheng, I have something important to ask you. Lin Yan hurriedly changed the topic. What is it? Ask away. Chapter 865. The two of them sat down on the couch. Lin Yan deliberated over her words carefully. She felt that she didn't have the right to ask, but she really minded this question. After some hesitation, Lin Yan finally decided to speak. Pei Yucheng, are you sure that the person you like is really me? Pei Yucheng didn't seem to understand Lin Yan's question. Why do you ask? Lin Yan frowned. You just have to answer my question. Pei Yucheng replied, of course. I don't think there's a need to discuss this. Lin Yan recalled everything that had happened ever since that consciousness had possessed her. The more she thought about it, the more stifled she felt. I don't think so. President Pei, perhaps you haven't recognized your true feelings yet. No wonder she had a feeling that Pei Yucheng was hiding something. Occasionally, when he looked at her, it seemed as though he was looking at someone else. Although Lin Yan usually addressed him as Mr. Pei or President Pei, the way she addressed him this time was clearly infuriated. Pei Yucheng was still puzzled. What happened? Or did you hear something from someone? Nothing. I just wanted to remind you to pay attention to the people around you. Don't use the wrong person. Lin Yan, who saw that Pei Yucheng wasn't going to reveal anything, stood up coldly and walked into her room. Pei Yucheng, who had been thrown into the living room by his wife, was speechless. In the guest room, Lin Yan felt as though something was stuck in her heart. She felt extremely depressed. She stared at her phone, preparing to call Pei Yutong to clarify things. If it was proven that the pervert and Pei Yucheng were as close as husband and wife, then what was the point of feeling guilty and conflicted? Was she just a convenient vessel for them to fall in love with each other? Lin Yan was about to call him angrily when her phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. Lin Yan, who was about to make a call, accidentally answered the call. Hello, is this Miss Lin Yan from the He family team? Lin Yan sobered up when she heard the voice. She looked a little strange. May I know who you are? Asked Lin Yan. Hello, Miss Lin Yan. I'm calling from the Chinese racing team. The Chinese racing team? Lin Yan was startled when she heard the person's identity. Could it be that Qi Xiaoyuan was so stupid that he leaked the news of his ban? When she had met Qi Xiaoyuan, Lin Yan had told him repeatedly that he could say that a friend of hers had been banned from the competition. However, he couldn't reveal her name. Miss Lin Yan, the international competition will be held in the country. The guild will prepare a new team to compete against the elite teams from other countries. Before he could finish, Lin Yan asked curiously, what does this have to do with me? Lin Yan naturally knew that the international competition would be held in the country. However, why would the Chinese guild look for her? Miss Lin Yan, you're a member of the country's racing team. Of course, it's related to you. Please report to the headquarters today. I will send you the address later. Before Lin Yan could respond, the other party had hung up the phone. Instinctively, Lin Yan glanced at her phone in confusion. From the looks of it, Qi Xiaoyuan did not reveal her name. But why would the Chinese guild look for her? Chapter 866. The Chinese team probably didn't know that she had left the He family team. Could they have taken a liking to her ability and wanted to recruit her to compete with the foreign teams? However, that didn't seem possible. She hadn't tried her best during the competition. She had only run casually, so she wouldn't have caught the attention of the Chinese team. Initially, Lin Yan had no intention of reporting to the headquarters of the Chinese team. However, Qi Xiaoyuan had failed. If she went, she might have a chance. If she didn't, she might not stand a chance at all. In fact, as Qi Xiaoyuan had analyzed, even if she created a new racing team, it would be useless if she could not participate in the competition. However, the Chinese Federation was very strict with new racing teams, so it was not realistic to try to bluff her way through. However, if she helped the Chinese team this time, there might be a chance. After much deliberation, Lin Yan decided to put aside Pei Yuqing's matter and head to the Chinese team's headquarters. When Lin Yan got changed, Pei Yuqing was still in the living room. Pei Yuqing's voice softened when he saw his wife. "The brown sugar soup is ready. Do you want some?" Lin Yan studied the man's gentle expression and realized that the person he liked might not be her. She clenched her fists tightly. Lin Yan strode over to Pei Yuqing without a word. She picked up the bowl of soup from his hands and tilted her head back. Without a word, she gulped down the brown sugar water, which tasted even scarier than Chinese medicine. Then, she said coldly, "I have something to do. I'll be back soon." Pei Yuqing watched Lin Yan leave and furrowed his brows. Then, he called Pei Yutong. "Hello, big brother. What's wrong? Are you looking for me?" "Big brother, I heard that the old guys in the company were taught a lesson by you this morning. Big sister-in-law is indeed amazing. Not only is she an elixir, but she can also revive a withered tree." Pei Yuqing interrupted Pei Yutong's rambling. "Did Lin Yan look for you?" Pei Yutong replied, "Huh? No. Why did she look for me?" Pei Yuqing replied, "Inform me immediately if she calls you." Pei Yutong asked, "Why? What happened?" Pei Yuqing replied, "Just do as I say." Pei Yutong replied, "Okay." She followed the address and drove to the headquarters of the Racing Guild. Lin Yan arrived at her destination in about an hour. Lin Yan saw many professional racers the moment she stepped into the headquarters. Some young men and women were chatting and laughing. However, their laughter stopped abruptly when they saw Lin Yan. Some unfriendly gazes landed on Lin Yan. Lin Yan wasn't familiar with the others, but she was familiar with one of them. The only female captain of the K1 team, Su Kai. "Why are you here?" Su Kai stared at Lin Yan expressionlessly. "Is this your house?" asked Lin Yan. Su Kai sneered coldly. "Lin Yan, this isn't my home. This is the headquarters of the country's racing team. Everyone here today is a top racer." Top racers. Lin Yan fell into deep thought. "Does that include you?" Su Kai's expression hardened when she heard Lin Yan. "Lin Yan, did the headquarters invite you?" However, Lin Yan ignored Su Kai. She merely sat down quietly. "Ms. Lin, you're here too." God Zi strode over to Lin Yan and grinned at her. "I have you for the rest of my life, Sweet and Warm will continue to be updated on the mobile game bar. There will be no advertisements on the website, so please bookmark and recommend the mobile game bar. I have you for the rest of my life, Sweet and Warm will be added to my collection." Chapter 867. Lin Yan glanced at God Zi and nodded. "The headquarters called me and asked me to come over." "Did the headquarters invite you?" Su Kai's eyes were filled with suspicion. It's no surprise that Miss Lin is here. During the ranking competition, Miss Lin was undoubtedly the first in Group C. God Zi chuckled and glanced at Su Kai beside him. Su Kai gritted her teeth. Almighty Z was speaking the truth and she couldn't refute him. About 10 minutes later, the person in charge of the office walked over. He looked at everyone and said with a smile, "Hello everyone, I am the person in charge of the office." After some explanation, everyone finally understood that the Chinese guilds needed to form a brand new racing team due to the international competition. The team would be called the number 1 racing team. Flash Dance. Every official member was made up of the strongest members of the top teams. Apart from the number 1 squadron, there was also a brand new squadron, temporarily called the number 2 squadron. Those who were present today naturally did not have the qualifications to join the first squad. They could only join the second squad. The two teams formed by the Hua Racing Guild were all for this international competition. The number 1 team was made up of the best racers from the top teams in the country. Anyone who could enter the number 1 team was practically the best racer in the country. For example, in the famous K1 battle team, only the captain of the K1 battle team had the right to join the number 1 battle team and become a member of it. Flash Dance Su Kai, Almighty Z, and the others could only be considered second or third tier racers in the Chinese racing circle. Thus, they weren't qualified to join the first team and could only join the second team. In fact, it was not difficult to understand. The members of the first team were made up of the strongest racers in the country, and the second team was a few levels below them. The purpose of creating the second team was to prevent any accidents from happening to the first team. The second team would be able to replace the first team and prevent accidents from happening. After listening to the manager's explanation, everyone understood that half of the invited racers could become official members of team number 2, while the other half were substitutes. After a while, God Z's gaze landed on the person in charge and he asked softly, "The headquarters didn't inform me of these details previously. Hence, I would like to ask if I am a substitute or an official member of the second team." If it was a substitute, he might have directly rejected it, but if it was an official member of the second team, he might be able to accept it. Most of our candidates have been confirmed. The headquarters would like to invite you to become an official member of the second team, the person in charge told God Z. God Z smiled and nodded. "Alright, since that's the case, I'll join." Almighty Z knew his place. It was unrealistic for him to become an official member of the first team. Given his standard, he might not even be able to become a substitute in the first team. Hence, he was very satisfied to become a member of the second team. However, God Z hadn't expected Lin Yan to show up. She recalled the conversation she had with Yeva's apprentice, Sun Shuaren, at the banquet that Lin Shuya had hosted for the impostor. Yeva was Lin Yan. To this day, God Z felt as though he was dreaming every time he saw Lin Yan. He really shouldn't have eavesdropped on Lin Yan and Sun Shuaren's conversation that night. Now, every time he saw Lin Yan, he would feel frightened and fearful. He was afraid that Yeva would notice something amiss. If Yeva found out that I had eavesdropped on her conversation with Sun Shuaren, every time God Z thought about this, he would feel nervous. Chapter 868. Miss Lin Yan, long time no see. A handsome man walked over to Lin Yan with a smile. "You are." Lin Yan sized up the man. He did look familiar, but she couldn't remember him. "Miss Lin, you must be forgetful. My name is Chi Feng." "Miss Lin, do you remember that we fought during the competition?" Chi Feng chuckled softly. Lin Yan pondered this for a moment before her eyes glinted. The captain of lightning, Chi Feng nodded slightly with a smile. "Miss Lin, you finally remembered." Lin Yan had some impression of this man. Lightning was the strongest team in Group C, and the captain was very interesting. He hadn't felt indignant after losing to her. Instead, he had been very happy. Lin Yan still remembered what Chi Feng had said to her after he had lost the competition. "I didn't lose to you, but to the huge potential of the Chinese racing industry. I hope that there will be more and more outstanding racers like you. That way, the Chinese racing industry will get better." It was because of this sentence that Lin Yan had some impression of Chi Feng. "Miss Lin, can I sit next to you?" Chi Feng grinned. "Sure," replied Lin Yan. "Miss Lin Yan, you're really strong. I hope that I will have the chance to compete with you and learn from you," said Chi Feng. "Learn from each other." Lin Yan grinned. "I don't think I'm a substitute, right?" Su Kai asked the person in charge. "Miss Su Kai, there's no need to rush." The person in charge then distributed some documents to the racers present. Some of them were substitutes, while the rest were official members. Lin Yan studied the documents in her hands. Fortunately, she wasn't a substitute. Even if she couldn't join the first team, she would be an official member of the second team. At least she had a name. Miss Lin Yan, although you're a newcomer, the headquarters has decided to invite you to become an official member of the second team. The person in charge smiled. Thank you. Lin Yan nodded. Everyone's eyes landed on Lin Yan. Indeed, Lin Yan had only gained some fame when the competition in the country had been launched. She was considered a standard newbie in the racing industry. However, some of them didn't object to Lin Yan becoming an official member of the second team. After all, everyone had witnessed Lin Yan's performance during the competition. As a member of the lowest level team, he had forcefully shouldered the He family team's responsibility and made them a high-level team. Among them, there were also some substitutes who were not convinced. That's a little inappropriate. One of the young men stood up and glanced at Lin Yan. She's a newcomer and lacks experience. It's not fair for her to become an official member. Indeed, I also think it's a little inappropriate for some veteran racers to be substitutes and newcomers to be official members. However, the captain of the Lightning Battle team, Chi Feng, glanced at them and said coldly, "May I ask, what is fair and what is unfair?" Captain Chi Feng, she's a newcomer, becoming an official member of Team 2 while some experienced racers are substitutes. Do you think it's fair? What experience does she have? One of the racers said expressionlessly. Experience? Chi Feng smiled. Wasn't the ranking competition not long ago a competition? Miss Lin Yan led the He family team to the championship. Doesn't that count? Chapter 869. So what if it's a competition? Does she have international competition experience? The man sneered coldly. Chi Feng glanced at the racer and said, "International competition experience. Do you have it?" As Chi Feng finished speaking, the smile on the man's face suddenly froze. "I remember that you have never participated in an international competition. Based on your logic, how can you become an official member of the second team? Then shouldn't it be more appropriate to replace you with a substitute first?" Chi Feng said indifferently. The man glared at Chi Feng, but he was speechless. The captain of the Lightning team was right. He had never participated in an international competition. Even if we haven't participated in an international competition, we have participated in many competitions. Don't we have enough competition experience? Asked another racer. Oh. If that's the case, then according to your logic, the competition you participated in is a competition, and the competition Miss Lin Yan participated in isn't a competition. Miss Lin Yan's competition is nothing in your eyes. Or do you not take the competition seriously at all? Chi Feng asked. Don't try to change the topic. I didn't say that I looked down on the competition. You're the one who tried to change the topic. I never said that you looked down on the competition. Why did you have to accuse me? Aren't you having double standards? Chi Feng quipped. Lin Yan glanced at Chi Feng in surprise. She hadn't expected this man to be so good at arguing. She hadn't realized that he was like Lang Mang. The only difference between him and Lang Mang was that Lang Mang would curse and swear. We watched the competition. I think Lin Yan won the competition because of luck. Otherwise, how could a newcomer like her become the champion of Category C? Chi Feng nodded and replied expressionlessly, I think you relied on luck to become a professional racer. You shouldn't have participated in a competition. You should have participated in a talk show competition. I think it's more suitable for you. Before anyone could speak, Chi Feng added, Miss Lin Yan is my friend and an opponent worthy of my respect. I'm well aware of her abilities. If anyone here is unconvinced and thinks that Miss Lin Yan relied on luck during the competition, it's actually very simple. Whoever is unconvinced can come out and compete with Miss Lin Yan. I dare to bet with everyone, but I'm afraid that some people don't have the guts to do so. Captain Chi Feng, I didn't know that you were a primary school student. Do you like to challenge others? I'm a primary school student. What are you? Are you a prenatal student? Chi Feng asked curiously. Lin Yan was speechless. He was a living example of Lang Mang who did not swear. Everyone, please wait. Su Kai chuckled and turned to the person in charge. Based on what I know, Lin Yan is a substitute. You might be mistaken. The person in charge was taken aback by Su Kai's words. This was the list that the higher-ups had decided on. How could there be a mistake? He was about to speak when the person in charge's phone rang. Sorry. The person in charge smiled apologetically at everyone and went out to answer the call. A moment later, the person in charge returned. Sorry, I made a mistake. Miss Lin Yan is indeed on the list of substitutes, said the person in charge. The rest of my life with you, sweet and warm, will continue to be updated on the mobile game bar. There will be no advertisements on the website, so please bookmark and recommend the mobile game bar. The rest of my life with you, sweet and warm, will be added to my collection. Chapter 870. Chi Feng frowned when he heard that. Was there a mistake? Lin Yan was puzzled as well. Why had she become a substitute? It was one thing that she couldn't enter the first team as an official member, but she had entered the second team as a substitute. She had been a professional racer for so many years, but she had never been a substitute. Thinking back to when she was overseas, she was already in the C position when she joined the WZ team. She became the captain of the WZ team. Chi Feng wanted to say something, but Lin Yan shook her head at God Z. Today, Chi Feng had offended many people because of her. There was no need. Captain Chi Feng, your substitute is Chin Yu, the person in charge told God Z. Chi Feng nodded at the man next to him. Every official member would have a substitute, and the two of them would be in charge of the handover. If anything happened to the official member, the substitute would replace him. Before that, the substitute had to serve the official member. Miss Su Kai, your substitute is Miss Lin Yan, the person in charge said to Su Kai. Su Kai glanced at Lin Yan and sneered disdainfully. It can't be. How could such a person be my substitute? Chi Feng's expression was a little puzzled. Everyone had seen Lin Yan's performance during the competition. In terms of ability, Su Kai couldn't compare to Lin Yan at all. Hence, what puzzled Chi Feng was that the racing guild had made Su Kai an official member and Lin Yan a substitute. This was a little, however, Chi Feng had a rough idea of what was going on. Su Kai's relative worked in the racing guild. Lin Yan had clearly become an official member of the second team and the documents had been issued. How could there be a mistake? Su Kai hadn't spoken earlier. She seemed to be chatting on her phone. Chi Feng immediately glanced at Su Kai. Su Kai must have done something to change Lin Yan from an official team member to Su Kai's substitute. I want Miss Lin Yan to be my navigator, Chi Feng told the person in charge after a moment of silence. Hearing that, everyone was stunned. A racer was going to be a navigator? The person in charge scrutinized Lin Yan. He had seen some information about Lin Yan. When she had first joined the He family team, she had indeed been a good navigator. At this stage, Lin Yan was just a substitute. Even if Chi Feng were to be the navigator, it wouldn't be a problem. Captain Chi Feng, I'm afraid you're thinking too much. The person in charge just said that Lin Yan is my substitute and needs to be handed over to me. Is it possible for her to be your navigator? Su Kai glanced at Chi Feng. God Z instinctively turned to look at Su Kai. This woman was too bold. If she knew that she was targeting Yeva, who knew how she would react? Chi Feng quipped, Miss Lin Yan isn't just a racer. She's also an outstanding navigator. She has the right to decide whether to enter the second team as a navigator. If Miss Su Kai doesn't agree, let Miss Lin Yan be your navigator. How about that? Su Kai furrowed her brows. Even if Lin Yan's navigator skills weren't bad, would Lin Yan really help her? Wouldn't she be a ticking time bomb if she were to be her navigator? Previously, Su Kai had informed her uncle at the headquarters to change Lin Yan's official member to her substitute. She had wanted to take this opportunity to teach Lin Yan a lesson. However, if Lin Yan joined the second team as a navigator, there wouldn't be a substitute. At the moment, the second team still lacked an outstanding navigator. Besides, every official member could bring their own navigator. Chapter 871. If Qi Feng gave this spot to Lin Yan, she wouldn't be able to do anything unless she wanted Lin Yan to be her navigator. However, she wasn't that stupid. Sure. Su Kai nodded and sneered coldly. Isn't she just a substitute? If you want her, you can have her. I have my own navigator. I don't need an amateur like her. Miss Lin Yan, is there a problem with being my navigator? Qi Feng asked Lin Yan. No matter what, he had to listen to Lin Yan. If she didn't agree, he wouldn't force her. It's my honor, replied Lin Yan. Instead of being a substitute, she might as well be a navigator. Initially, Lin Yan had come to the headquarters to see if she had a chance to meet the higher-ups of the guild so that she could have a chance to compete. However, based on the current situation, it didn't seem that easy. She hadn't even seen the higher-ups. Given the current situation, she could only take it one step at a time. She hoped that she would be able to find some hope in the international competition. Otherwise, she would have to say goodbye to the racetrack. Actually, Lin Yan had taken a risk by joining the second team. The second team was bound to meet with foreign teams and guilds. If she wasn't careful and someone saw her, her identity would be exposed. If the foreign and Chinese guilds discovered that Yeva was Lin Yan, she wouldn't be able to compete for the rest of her life. Alright, everyone, go back and rest. Thank you for your hard work, said the person in charge. Miss Lin Yan, I wish you good luck. However, I don't think your luck will be that good. I told you not to fall into my hands. Otherwise, you will suffer. Su Kai walked over to Lin Yan and sneered coldly. I don't eat fruits, replied Lin Yan calmly. After leaving the headquarters, Qi Feng chased after her. Miss Lin Yan, you have to be careful of Su Kai. She must have been the one behind you becoming a substitute. She has a relative working in the guild, Qi Feng told Lin Yan. Lin Yan nodded. Yeah. But I don't think much of her. I just think she's noisy. Miss Lin Yan, you have to be careful. This kind of person is narrow-minded. You have to be wary of her. However, I have to thank her. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't have been able to find an outstanding navigator like you. Qi Feng grinned. I really envy you for having such a great navigator, Lin Yan teased. Miss Lin Yan, to be honest, I'm envious of myself. Miss Lin Yan is my navigator. I'll leave everything to you. I'll follow your lead, said Qi Feng. Although Qi Feng knew that given his standards, he wouldn't be able to do well even if he participated in the international competition, if Lin Yan was the navigator, he wouldn't lose too badly even if he lost. During the competition, Qi Feng's lightning team had lost to the dark horse of the He family team. Lin Yan had been riding the dark horse of the He family team. Qi Feng had fought Lin Yan before, so he naturally knew her standards. When he had been in Division C, he hadn't taken any of the teams seriously. Who would have thought that Lin Yan would knock him off his throne? After that, Qi Feng had been very interested in this opponent. He had investigated Lin Yan's background and learned more about her. She had even been a navigator in the He family team before, and her standards were extremely high. The more he investigated Lin Yan's background, the more Qi Feng respected the opponent who had defeated him. Qi Feng hadn't expected that he would be on the battlefield with this opponent so soon. Actually, it was all thanks to Su Kai. If Su Kai hadn't caused trouble and played dirty tricks, Lin Yan wouldn't have become his navigator. Chapter 872. Lin Yan had just bid farewell to Chi Feng when she received a call from Pei Yutong. He had something important to discuss with her. The two of them arranged a place to meet. Pei Yutong stared at Lin Yan agitatedly. Sister Yan, something has happened. Something big has happened. Lin Yan glanced at Pei Yutong in confusion. What had happened? Why was this kid so agitated? What's wrong? Asked Lin Yan. Pei Yutong leaned closer to Lin Yan with a mysterious look on his face. Do you know that the international competition will be held in the country this time? The corners of Lin Yan's mouth twitched. Is that all? Initially, she had wanted to meet Pei Yutong and find out more about his brother. However, she dismissed that idea when she saw how unreliable he looked. She should find someone else to find out more. Ling Yu was more reliable than this fellow. Daddy, I just wanted to discuss something with you. Look at Storm. We didn't do well in the previous competition. This is a good opportunity. Daddy, come to Storm and help me. Help Storm enter the international competition and make Storm famous. I believe that with your ability, it won't be a problem for you to enter the third level of the international competition. Pei Yutong said. You didn't do well in the competition? Lin Yan asked meaningfully. Of course. I just didn't do well. Pei Yutong nodded furiously. Lin Yan was speechless. It was a miracle that they hadn't been eliminated. How could that be considered not doing well? Daddy, the He family team has grown up. It's time for them to learn how to compete. However, Storm is still in its infancy. It needs your love, replied Pei Yutong. I don't have time, replied Lin Yan. Daddy, you're so heartless, cruel, and unreasonable. Pei Yutong looked aggrieved. Before Lin Yan could respond, Pei Yutong added, Daddy, we love each other. Why don't you come and help me? A relationship? Lin Yan was puzzled. Daddy, don't you know? This is a very famous and touching story, replied Pei Yutong. Tell me. Lin Yan picked up the two kittens and sat on the couch. Please begin your performance. Pei Yutong cleared his throat and gazed at Lin Yan solemnly. Once upon a time, there was a farm with a cow and a dog. They were very close. However, one day, the cow got old and couldn't work anymore. Hence, the owner sold the cow to a cattle dealer. Who knew that the dog wouldn't eat or drink without the cow's company? It would whine every day. In the end, the owner was touched by the dog. Daddy, guess what happened? Lin Yan frowned and pondered for a moment. Then, she glanced at Pei Yutong. Master is finally touched by the cow and the dog's friendship. Yes, yes, yes. That's right. Pei Yutong nodded repeatedly. In the end, the owner tearfully sold the dog to the cattle dealer? Lin Yan was puzzled. The smile on Pei Yutong's face froze. The corners of Pei Yutong's mouth twitched as he stared at Lin Yan. Was this woman a demon? No, no, Daddy. The owner redeemed the cow in the end. This is a relationship between a cow and a dog. I'm the cow, and you're the dog. Pei Yutong gazed at Lin Yan. What did you say? Lin Yan frowned. Pei Yutong glanced at Lin Yan. If you don't want to be the dog, you can be the cow. I'll be the dog. Lin Yan was speechless. Chapter 873. They hadn't seen each other for a few days, but this kid must be beyond cure. How could he be cured? Daddy, are you touched? Do you want to come and help me? Pei Yutong grinned. No, replied Lin Yan expressionlessly. Pei Yutong looked as though he had lost all hope in life. He was about to say something when Lin Yan added, I have already left the He family team. I plan to start a new team. Pei Yutong looked astonished. Sister Yan, are you joking? You want to create your own team? Yeah. Lin Yan nodded. Daddy. You. You want to be your own boss? Pei Yutong replied hastily, that's a smart move. Do you want to invest? Count me in. I have to join your team. Lin Yan's eyes lit up at the mention of investment. Do you have money? Lin Yan couldn't help but feel suspicious. Pei Yutong scanned his surroundings and replied softly, yes, I do. Actually, I have a secret stash of money. I use it to flirt with girls. No. I use it to get married. Lin Yan was speechless. The kid had exposed himself. Sister Yan, have you registered your team? Do you have an office space? Asked Pei Yutong. I haven't registered it yet, but I have an office and a training ground. If you want to join, we can split the rent. I'll take you to the office first, replied Lin Yan. She drove Pei Yutong to the office. He Lufeng was playing computer games listlessly in the office. When he saw Lin Yan, he sprang to his feet hastily. Sister, I've been working. I haven't been playing games. Before Lin Yan could respond, He Lufeng's eyes landed on He Lufeng. Hey, isn't that Boss Pei from Storm? He Lufeng. Pei Yutong was startled when he saw He Lufeng. Did Lin Yan's new team have such a thing? He Lufeng was famous in the racing industry in the country. Anyone who came into contact with him would die. Boss He, do you know my sister? Asked He Lufeng curiously. Yeah, I know her very well. Pei Yutong quipped. I heard from Sister Yan that she wants to start a team. I want to invest in it. He Lufeng nodded and said, Boss Pei, I knew it. You should have disbanded your racing team a long time ago. It's such a trashy team with useless members. You'd be burning money if you kept it. Boss Pei, you're a smart man. You disbanded your team and invested in us. The corners of Pei Yutong's mouth twitched as he glanced at Lin Yan. Can I hit him? Lin Yan glanced at him. No. Pei Yutong muttered, biased, let's talk about investing. Lin Yan grinned at Pei Yutong. Look at this place. It's such a good location and it's huge. The rent is huge. How about we split it? The location is good and huge. There's also a training ground. Even my training ground isn't as luxurious. Sister Yan, I didn't know that you were so rich. Impressive. Pei Yutong quipped. Oh yeah, Sister Yan. How much does it cost to rent such a huge place? Let me calculate, asked Pei Yutong. It's the market price. Lin Yan grinned. Before Lin Yan could respond, He Lufeng quipped, Sister, didn't the boss give us this place for free? It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost anything? Pei Yutong was startled. Don't listen to him. There's no such thing as a free place, quipped Lin Yan. Sister, how could I be spouting nonsense? It's true that it doesn't cost anything. I was there too. The boss gave it to us for free. I can't be wrong. He Lufeng looked confident. Lin Yan glanced at He Lufeng and fell silent for a few seconds. Then, she turned to Pei Yutong. What did you say? Pei Yutong quipped, how much does the venue cost? Let me calculate. No, it was the first sentence, replied Lin Yan. Pei Yutong scratched his head. Can I kill him? Lin Yan replied, sure. Chapter 874. He Lufeng glanced at Lin Yan and scratched his head. Are you my sister? Lin Yan glanced at He Lufeng. I'm your cousin. He Lufeng looked aggrieved. You're my cousin too. How could you allow an outsider to hit me? Lin Yan was speechless. Sister Yan, look. Your land is free. What about the rent? Pei Yutong glanced at Lin Yan with a smile. Not a single cent less. Lin Yan replied resolutely, I'll give you a 20% discount according to the market price. Pei Yutong was speechless. She was really obsessed with money. Pei Yutong was about to continue when Lin Yan's phone rang. Lin Yan whipped out her phone and saw that it was her boss. Lin Yan had just picked up the call when she heard a low howl that sent chills down her spine. "Boss?" Lin Yan frowned. There was no response. Instead, she heard the sound of something smashing. "What's wrong? Are you all right?" Lin Yan asked anxiously. There was still no response. "What happened?" He Lufeng glanced at Lin Yan curiously. "I'm going up." Lin Yan didn't answer He Lufeng. Instead, she hung up and left the office. She took the elevator upstairs. The boss's office door wasn't locked. Lin Yan pushed it gently and walked in. However, the moment she entered, she was shocked by the scene before her. The office was in a mess. The desk had been overturned, and office supplies were scattered all over the floor. The man's handsome face was contorted in a hideous manner. Lin Yan glanced at the man and opened her mouth, as though she wanted to say something. However, the man's gaze made Lin Yan's heart turn cold. A chill ran down her spine, and she had the urge to flee. "Boss. Are you all right?" Lin Yan asked anxiously. However, Lin Yan regretted asking. Given the man's current state, even if he said he was fine, she wouldn't believe him. Swoosh. Before Lin Yan could continue her train of thought, something flew out of the man's hand and flew at her. Instinctively, Lin Yan wanted to dodge it, but it was too fast. By the time this thought crossed her mind, the object had already flown towards her. In the blink of an eye, Lin Yan felt a stinging sensation on her cheeks. With a loud bang, the wall behind Lin Yan caved in from the impact of the flying object. Lin Yan was flabbergasted. She ignored the stinging pain on her face and bolted out of the office. Just now, the man's aim wasn't good. If his aim was good, his head might have been smashed into pieces. Lin Yan had no idea what had happened to the man, nor did she have the time to ponder. She didn't dare ask. Her top priority now was to stay alive. Before Lin Yan could leave the office, the man's figure flashed past her. His aura was like that of a wild beast that could topple mountains and overturn seas. The man clutched Lin Yan's wrist with such force that her forehead broke out in cold sweat. Lin Yan had no doubt that the man would crush her hand if he exerted more force. "Boss, are you crazy?" Lin Yan stared at the man's eyes, which were devoid of human emotions. She used all her strength to shout. Perhaps it was because of Lin Yan's shout or something else, but the man's ferocious expression morphed into a look of struggle and pain. Lin Yan could tell from the man's eyes that he was struggling to resist something. Chapter 875. The two of them were locked in a stalemate for about half an hour. The man's grip on Lin Yan's wrist gradually loosened. Lin Yan seized the opportunity to jerk away and retreat to the side. She had wanted to leave, but she was worried when she saw the man in this state. Who knew what was going on with this man? Would he continue to lose control and smash the glass of the office and fall from dozens of floors of a building? Relax. Take a deep breath. Lin Yan calmed down and whispered to the man. Perhaps it was a coincidence, but the man began to take deep breaths. Lin Yan stepped forward and placed her hand gently on the man's shoulder. If the man overreacted, she would be able to escape immediately. However, the man didn't react. A few seconds later, Lin Yan mustered up her courage and led the man to the couch. She made him sit down. Calm down and don't let your imagination run wild. Lin Yan gazed at the man as she spoke softly. Lin Yan was already used to doing this. Come to think of it, the man in her house sometimes did the same thing. Lin Yan was startled at the thought of Pei Yucheng. Why did the man in front of her and Pei Yucheng have this problem? Why would they lose control for no reason? Why did she have to calm them down? However, The only difference was that Pei Yuqing hadn't lost control as badly as the man in front of her. Ever since the incident at the bar, Pei Yuqing's condition had been stable. Occasionally, the watch on his wrist would sound an alarm, but it would calm down quickly. Pei Yuqing was able to control himself and had never lost control in front of her. Thank you. After some time, the man on the couch suddenly spoke. His voice was slightly hoarse. Boss, how are you feeling? Are you all right? Lin Yan heaved a sigh of relief when the man regained his senses. Are you all right? Did I hurt you? The man raised his head and studied Lin Yan. Lin Yan rubbed her wrist and instinctively glanced at the wall behind her. He hadn't hurt her, but he had almost killed her. Boss, I'm fine. How are you feeling? I'll call the doctor, replied Lin Yan. There's no need. The man shook his head. It's useless to go to the hospital. I just need you by my side. Huh? Lin Yan glanced at the man in surprise. Why did those words sound so weird? The man frowned and shook his head vigorously. It's nothing. It's just an old problem. Don't worry, it won't happen again in a short period of time. Lin Yan was speechless. Look, are these the words of a human? Don't worry. Just now, I almost lost my life. If she doesn't worry, then she really has a big heart. Worrying about men was secondary. She was more worried about her own life. If the boss was gone, he could be replaced, but if she lost her life, then she would be completely gone. Please, help me, pour a glass of water, the man said after a moment of silence. Lin Yan scanned her surroundings. The water dispenser had been smashed into smithereens. Where could she get water? Lin Yan got up and passed a bottle of water to the man. After drinking the water, the man's complexion improved. Boss, what's your problem? Do you really not need to go to the hospital? Lin Yan asked anxiously. No need. The man shook his head. It's an old illness. It can't be cured. Lin Yan rested her chin on her hand and pondered. Chapter 876. Was it a coincidence? Why did Pei Yuqing have the same problem? It was also an old illness that the hospital couldn't cure. Most importantly, Pei Yuqing's symptoms were extremely similar to this man's. Thank you. Today. It's all thanks to you. The man stared at Lin Yan meaningfully. Lin Yan was speechless. Why was he thanking her? She hadn't treated his illness. Shall I go down first? Asked Lin Yan. Wait, the man said. Let me introduce myself again. The man extended his hand. My surname is Xiao. Lin Yan was speechless. Xiao Yao, the man replied. All right, boss Xiao Yao. My name is Lin Yan. I'm your employee, replied Lin Yan. Go ahead. Come up and clean up when you have time, said the man. Lin Yan was speechless. She was a translator, not a cleaner. Was it appropriate for her to do 2 jobs with 1 salary? Lin Yan left the office and bumped into Pei Yutong. Pei Yutong's face was pale as he stared at Lin Yan in astonishment. Are you a thief? Lin Yan glanced at Pei Yutong. F***CK. Oh my god. F***CK Big Whitey. Pei Yutong was horrified. Big Whitey? Lin Yan was puzzled. It's a white pit bull I used to raise. It's called Big Whitey, replied Pei Yutong. What nonsense are you talking about? Why are you here? Asked Lin Yan. Oh my god. Sister Yan, Daddy, my biological father. He's the person inside. Pei Yutong pointed at the office behind Lin Yan. Why? Do you know him? Lin Yan asked curiously. Pei Yutong shook his head. I don't know him. What are you trying to say? Lin Yan realized that she was gradually losing her patience. How should I explain it to you? Have you seen a sci-fi movie? An evolved being? An evolved being. Pei Yutong said excitedly. Lin Yan was speechless. Let me tell you, Sister Yan. He's definitely an evolved being. He's the kind in sci-fi movies. Believe me. If I lie to you, my team will disband. Pei Yutong said. Lin Yan hadn't expected Pei Yutong to know about evolved beings. However, on second thought, he was Pei Yucheng's younger brother after all. Besides, the entire Pei family wasn't ordinary. It wouldn't be surprising if Pei Yutong knew about evolved beings. Sister Yan, I swear that I'm telling the truth. There are really evolved beings in this world, and the system is very complicated and huge. My family has many records and I've read all of them. I'm not crazy or spouting nonsense. Pei Yutong was afraid that she wouldn't believe him. Oh. Lin Yan nodded. Sister Yan, do you really believe me? There's nothing wrong with my brain. Don't look at me like that. Pei Yutong said anxiously. Why are you shouting? I believe you. Lin Yan glanced at him. Huh? Pei Yutong was taken aback. You believe me just like that? You believed me so quickly. Are you taking me for a fool? I'm not brushing you off, replied Lin Yan. Most people wouldn't believe it. Pei Yutong was a little doubtful. Lin Yan grinned. I don't believe you. You're begging me to believe you. I believe you, but you say that I'm brushing you off. Pei Yutong replied, Sister Yan, I don't care if you believe me or not, but I have to remind you that that man is really an evolved being. Besides, you'd better stay away from him. I wouldn't harm you. You almost got killed just now. Lin Yan nodded and stared at Pei Yutong. All right. I believe you because I'm also an evolved being. Chapter 877. Pei Yutong gasped in shock as he stared at Lin Yan in disbelief. Do you think I'm stupid? Are you kidding me? Pei Yutong frowned. Lin Yan chuckled softly. Do you still remember the time you looked for God Zi and Nan, Song Yaonan? Pei Yutong quipped. I think so. They looked for the Air Force, replied Lin Yan. I know. What happened? Pei Yutong asked curiously. We fought after that. The corners of Lin Yan's mouth curled up. I remember it clearly. Sister Yan, you defeated a group of men by yourself. You beat them up as though you were playing. F***ck. Pei Yutong stared at Lin Yan in shock. So. Sister Yan, you're really an evolved being? I thought that you were born with divine power. Why? Are you afraid? Lin Yan grinned. Pei Yutong was speechless. I'm afraid. How can I be afraid of you? As the saying goes, even a vicious tiger won't eat its cubs. Daddy, you won't hurt me. Besides, I think that there must be evolved beings in the Pei family. I have many suspects, but I don't have any evidence. Pei Yutong stroked his chin. Lin Yan was speechless. For example, his brother, Pei Yucheng. Pei Yucheng was an evolved being. There was no doubt about it. Lin Yan even suspected that Xing Chen and the others might be evolved beings. Currently, there were only a few people in Cloud Manor who didn't look like evolved beings. They were Pei Yutong, Pei Nanshu, and the cleaning lady. Daddy, I've lived for a long time. This is the first time I've met a real evolved being, and I met two at once. I'm so excited. How can I become an evolved being? I want to try too. How would I know? I'm as confused as you, replied Lin Yan. Pei Yucheng replied in disbelief, no way. Sister Yan, aren't you an evolved being? Why don't you know anything? Oh yeah, Sister Yan, let me tell you the truth. I'm an evolved being. There's nothing I don't know. Theorist, why are you asking me if you know? Asked Lin Yan. Air. I was so excited that I forgot the theory, replied Pei Yutong. Don't tell your brother about this. Do you understand? Lin Yan instructed him. What do you want to talk to my brother about? Pei Yutong looked confused. I almost got killed, replied Lin Yan. I don't want your brother to worry. Oh, I understand. I don't dare to say anything even if you want me to. Think about it. If you were with me and you were almost killed. My brother would break my legs, replied Pei Yutong. You are worth teaching. Lin Yan nodded in satisfaction. Since you're so smart, I will pay you the rent. You're waiving it? Pei Yutong's eyes lit up. I'll give you a 30% discount, replied Lin Yan. Pei Yutong, after returning to the office, he discussed the details of the new team with He Lifeng and Pei Yutong. In any case, the new team was going to be established. From tomorrow onwards, it would be officially registered and would be recruiting excellent racers. Even if Lin Yan couldn't be the person in charge of the new team because of her ban, Pei Yutong could still take over. Lin Yan wasn't worried about the establishment of the new team. She was only worried that she wouldn't be able to compete because of her ban. Not long after, the International League would be held in Hua Nation. The only thing they could do now was to see if there were any opportunities during this period. If there was really no other way, she would have to be the coach of the new team. Chapter 878. Sister, the recruitment notice has been sent out. He Lifeng suddenly opened his mouth to speak. Huh? Lin Yan snapped back to her senses and instinctively glanced at He Lifeng. You send it out? Where did you send it? Where else? I sent it online. I searched for a few recruitment websites, replied He Lifeng. Lin Yan was speechless. They were recruiting professional racers online? Why did she feel that with He Lifeng around, the new Aurora team would disband and close down soon? Sister Yan, your brother is really talented. Pei Yutong gave Lin Yan a thumbs up. Lin Yan glanced at Pei Yutong and sneered coldly. You're right. He Lifeng, who seemed a little unhappy, said indignantly, What do you mean? Are you looking down on me? Have you heard of experts hiding among the people? What's wrong with recruiting online? Who knows? Someone might apply soon. He Lifeng had just finished speaking when someone knocked on the door. Are you hiring racers here? We're here to apply. Lin Yan was speechless, Pei Yutong was speechless, F***CK. Is that even possible? Pei Yutong was astonished. Even Lin Yan was puzzled. Even if they could really recruit racers online, wasn't that a little too fast? He Lifeng had just announced the recruitment notice a second ago, and someone had come to apply. After opening the door, two men walked into the office one after another. Lin Yan and He Lifeng's expressions changed the moment they saw them. Lin Yan and He Lifeng exchanged a glance and saw the shock in each other's eyes. He Lifeng had a deep impression of these two men. Even if they turned into ashes, he would still be able to recognize them at a glance. Although the two of them had deliberately put on makeup, it was too perfunctory. Who else could they be other than the crazy Zhang San and Li Si brothers? Some time ago, He Lifeng had pretended to be Xiao to scare them away. He had never imagined that they would come looking for him today. However, Pei Yutong, who had no idea what had happened and didn't know them, looked puzzled. Sirs, how old are you? Why are you still trying to be a racer? Pei Yutong frowned at Zhang San and Li Si. Who's your uncle? Li Si glared at Pei Yutong. I'm your aunt. Auntie? The corners of Pei Yutong's mouth twitched. He was obviously an old man. Although he had put on feminine makeup, wasn't this too perfunctory? You're an auntie just because you're wearing women's clothes and makeup? If I were to wear ancient clothes, wouldn't I be an ancient person? Pei Yutong sneered. Sis, this. He Lifeng walked over to Lin Yan and wanted to whisper something to her. However, Lin Yan shot him a look to tell him not to make a sound. These two old men were not ordinary people. Although there might be something wrong with their brains, they were real evolvers. A few days ago, the two of them had been scared off by Hilifeng. They had probably realized that they had fallen into Hilifeng's trap. That was why they had deliberately disguised themselves to check on him. If that was the case, the two of them wouldn't be so stupid. However, if they weren't stupid, why were they dressed up? Li Si had even disguised himself as a woman. Which part of him looked like a woman? I say, sirs, Pei Yutong wanted to continue, but Hilifeng interrupted him. Boss Pei, this is Auntie. Chapter 879. Huh? Pei Yutong glanced at Hilifeng strangely. Uncle, Auntie, our racer. Hilifeng glanced at the two of them. Although he was smiling, he was actually very nervous. All he wanted was for the two of them to leave as soon as possible. Little brother, how should I address you? What's your surname? Li Si grinned at Hilifeng. Hilifeng broke out in a cold sweat as he replied fearfully, my surname is Xiao. Xiao? Are you serious? Hilifeng was speechless. I said that we aren't recruiting. If there's nothing else, just leave. Don't delay our work. Pei Yutong sounded a little impatient. However, the two of them didn't respond. They walked towards Lin Yan. However, with every step they took, Lin Yan took a step back. Young lady, you have delicate features. It's our first time meeting. I have a gift for you. Don't reject it, said Zhang San. I don't deserve a reward, replied Lin Yan expressionlessly. Hey, the two of you are speaking so strangely. Is there something wrong with your brains? If you don't leave, I'm going to call for help, said Pei Yutong. Call for help? Li Si sneered coldly. Go ahead and shout. No one will come and save you. What did you say? Save us? Who are you? What are you doing here? Pei Yutong was alarmed. Without waiting for Li Si to speak, Zhang San scolded Li Si. You idiot. If you say that, won't we be exposed? This perfect disguise could have easily succeeded. Can't you just shut your stinky mouth? Lin Yan was speechless. A perfect disguise? How was it perfect? Even Hilifeng could see through it at a glance. This was perfect. Li Si glared at Zhang San indignantly. What's wrong? I'm happy. I'm so capable. Why would I need to disguise myself? I'm here to capture her. Who can do anything to me? You idiot, we don't just need to be brave, we also need to be smart. Perfect men like us brothers, if we are brave but not smart, wouldn't that be too regretful? Zhang San said. Hearing this, Li Si pondered for a moment before nodding his head. That's right, big brother. I understand now that you've put it that way. Perfect men like us must be brave and smart. Lin Yan was speechless, Hilifeng was speechless. Pei Yutong, can anyone help me check the phone number of the mental hospital? He must have escaped from there. We have to send him back as soon as possible, said Pei Yutong. Little B** starred, who told you that we brothers are mentally ill? Li Si roared. Who are you calling a B** starred? Pei Yutong glared at him furiously. Little bastard, I called you. That little bastard is calling you. Li Si scolded. Pei Yutong fell silent for a few seconds. Then, he clapped his hands and said confidently, yes, it's confirmed. He's mentally ill. Bro, he called me crazy. He insulted me. Zhang San looked at Li Si. How dare you say that my brother is mentally ill? Zhang San pointed at Pei Yutong. Run. When Hilifeng saw that the situation couldn't hold on any longer, he shouted and prepared to run out. Lin Yan and Hilifeng, who had left the office, were pulled back by Pei Yutong. Why are you running? Aren't they just two mentally ill people? What's there to be afraid of? Watch me subdue them, said Pei Yutong. Chapter 880. They are evolved beings, Lin Yan whispered softly. What? Pei Yutong didn't seem to have heard her clearly. Evolved beings. Lin Yan frowned. Huh? Pei Yutong stared at Zhang San and Li Si in disbelief. Sister Yan, why didn't you say so earlier? Pei Yutong quipped. Lin Yan sighed helplessly at the landlord's silly son. Pei Yutong took a deep breath, and his eyes glinted coldly as he glared at Zhang San and Li Si. Are you evolved beings? Before they could speak, Pei Yutong waved his hand and said coldly, forget it. I don't care who you are. Lin Yan and He Lefeng are my good friends. If you dare to touch them, you can touch them a second time. Lin Yan was speechless. He Lefeng was speechless. Little rascal, what did you call me just now? Li Si approached Pei Yutong and their eyes met. I called you grandfather? Pei Yutong asked. What did you call me? Li Si was puzzled. Grandfather. Pei Yutong glared at Li Si. You're my grandfather. I'm your grandson, grandfather. Grandfather? Li Si rubbed his nose in confusion. Do I have a son and a grandson? When did this happen? How could I forget? You fool. He's lying to you. Zhang San bellowed at Li Si. Lying to me? How dare you pretend to be my grandson? Li Si glared at Pei Yutong. Pei Yutong wanted to cry, but no tears came out. He had clearly admitted defeat by calling him grandfather. How had he become his grandson? Pei Yutong gritted his teeth when he saw Li Si's ferocious gaze. Let me tell you, so what if you're an evolved being? I'm a loyal person. You can hit my friends, but you can't hit me. Slap. Li Si punched Pei Yutong's left eye. F***CK. Why didn't you follow the rules? Didn't I say? Hit me. You can't hit me. Pei Yutong covered his eye. I'm going to cause trouble for them today. What will you do? Zhang San sneered at Pei Yutong. I will. I will be angry. Pei Yutong said. This little brat is really loyal. Zhang San said to Li Si. Li Si nodded. That's right. Lin Yan was speechless. He Lefeng was speechless. Have you had enough? Pei Yutong yelled angrily. I'm telling you that I'm really angry. Don't force me. If we force you, what can you do to us? Zhang San sneered. I'll tell my brother. Replied Pei Yutong. Your brother? Who is your brother? Let me tell you, my brother is not someone you can afford to provoke. Know your place and scram. Otherwise, if my brother finds out, you'll be finished. My brother will crush you two like ants. Little bastard, I'll beat you to death first, and then let your brother find me for revenge. Zhang San shouted coldly. Stop. Lin Yan stood in front of Pei Yutong. If I want to kill him, can you stop me? Zhang San shouted coldly. Just as Li Si was about to make a move, Zhang San stopped Li Si. Zhang San, why are you stopping me? Li Si was puzzled. This little brother is innocent. Let him leave, said Zhang San. Pei Yutong wanted to cry, but no tears came out. What was going on? Were they good or bad? Did they have a deep grudge against Lin Yan? Chapter 881. Run. Lin Yan grabbed He Lefeng and Pei Yutong and turned to leave. Zhang San's evolved ability was terrifying. She couldn't be his match, let alone Li Si. Although the two of them were strange, they were powerful. She couldn't fight them head-on. Hee, you're quite fast, but can you really escape? Zhang San sneered coldly and stood rooted to the ground. He didn't chase after them. A second later, Hilifeng, who was following Lin Yan, suddenly shook her off. Xiaofeng? Lin Yan instinctively stopped and glanced at Hilifeng in confusion. Before Lin Yan could finish her sentence, Hilifeng grabbed Lin Yan's neck as though he had gone crazy. F***ck. Your brother is crazy. Pei Yutong was shocked. Lin Yan frowned slightly. A few seconds later, she kicked Hilifeng aside. He's not crazy, replied Lin Yan. He's not crazy. That's the evolved ability of an evolved being. Pei Yutong was enlightened. Yes. Lin Yan nodded. The ability to control or interfere with the thoughts and actions of others. This is an ability that only a very powerful evolved being can have, replied Pei Yutong. You know that too? Asked Lin Yan. Of course. Didn't I tell you that I'm a theoretical expert? Pei Yutong nodded repeatedly. Wait a minute, Sister Yan. Is your brother dead? Pei Yutong glanced at Hilifeng, who was lying motionless on the ground. He's fine. He fainted from his kick. The man's voice rang out. A second later, the man walked over slowly from the corner. His face was pale and he looked a little weak. Lin Yan was startled to see Xiao Yao. Xiao Yao had been in trouble upstairs. Although he had recovered a lot after being comforted, he should be relatively weak now. That was why Lin Yan hadn't asked Xiao Yao for help when Zhang San and Li Si had come. Who are you? Tell me your name. Don't be a busybody. Zhang San shouted. Xiao Yao, the man replied calmly. Xiao Yao? As the man's voice fell, Li Si instantly laughed. Xiao, your grandmother's head. Huh, that's right, Xiao, your grandmother's big ball. You still want to lie to us? Do you think we're stupid? After falling for it once, you can fall for it a second time. Little bastard, the same trick won't work on us a second time. Zhang San sneered. Xiao Yao did not say anything and walked straight towards the two of them. Soon, Zhang San's brows suddenly furrowed, and he looked at the man in surprise. Your level is not high enough. Your ability is useless against me, Xiao Yao said indifferently. What did you say? Before Zhang San and Li Si could continue, Xiao Yao instantly lifted Zhang San and Li Si from both sides. Very soon, Xiao Yao walked to the window and threw the two of them down from the tall building without hesitation. F***ck. Pei Yutong jumped in fright when he saw this. Sister Yan, you killed them? Hilifeng glanced at Lin Yan. Me? Lin Yan was startled. No. Your boss killed them? Hilifeng asked. They are different from you. Xiao Yao pressed the button and entered the elevator alone. They won't die. After Xiao Yao left, Lin Yan and Pei Yutong walked to the window and looked down. Indeed, there wasn't any bloody scene. Zhang San and Li Si had disappeared. They didn't die from such a high fall. Even evolved beings can't be that exaggerated. Pei Yutong exclaimed in disbelief. You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.